Plus, no resort fees for Arizona and our surrounding states. Treat yourself to the best in the Southwest. Book your stay and play Getaway today. Visit TalkingStickResort.com. Life well played.
Hi, fans. This is Dave Pasch, sports broadcaster, journalist, and longtime Arizona resident. Dignity Health knows the importance of a healthy, active lifestyle. We want to get you back on your feet quickly so you can return to play, whether you're a weekend warrior or an elite athlete. If you're ready to feel the glory, not the pain, find a provider and schedule an appointment today at dignityhealth.org/azortho. Dignity Health, a proud partner of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
12 News is dedicated to the Arizona Diamondbacks, bringing you the Friday fun. Lead off with D-backs on deck to get you ready for the first pitch. Then, tune in to watch select Friday home games on 12 News. It's all followed by 12 News at 10 for the latest developments across the state. Stream D-backs on deck, then catch up on breaking news, weather, and exclusive content. All available anytime on 12 Plus. It's baseball season in Arizona. 12 News, the official broadcast home of your Arizona Diamondbacks.
Diamond Talk. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball, presented by Talking Stick Resort. Life well played. Avnet, delivering what's next in technology every time we take the field. Fries, with Boost by Fries VIP. Win game day with free grocery delivery, 2 times fuel points and more. Visit friesfood.com/boost today. The Diamondbacks Radio Network is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. Diamond Talk. Diamond Talk. Diamond Talk. KMVP FM Phoenix.
Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
On the Arizona Sports app and on 98.7. Arizona Sports, the local sports leader. Burns and Gambo starts now.
Straight up 432. Oh, this Wednesday afternoon. Good afternoon, and welcome into today's edition of the Burns and Gambo Show here on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader. My name is Dave Burns, alongside the one, the only, John Gambadoro. Hi, Gambo!
Burnsy, what's going on?
Short show today, my friend. Long baseball game, short show. Lot to talk about. Boy, we got a lot to unpack today after that baseball game, don't we?
Yeah, that was a crazy game. That was just a crazy game. Crazy long game.
Yeah, crazy
really long game. But my initial thoughts. Well, great series win.
Okay.
On the road against the Giants, great series win. You won 2 out of 3. No matter how it plays out, you have to win baseball games. And they did that. They took 2 out of 3 against a division rival that's playing really good this year. Number 2, Eduardo Rodriguez, he lasted 4 innings. So, that's number 1. That's number 2. So number 1 is you got the series win. Number 2, Eduardo Rodriguez, wasn't so great. Wasn't terrible. It could have been worse, but it wasn't good. 4 runs in 4 innings is an ERA of 9.
Yeah.
The bullpen, again, with the bullpen, Ryan Nelson couldn't get the job done. And then Shelby Miller comes in, and Chapman singles, and a ground rule double. And we're lucky it was a ground rule double. And then Bailey walks him, and then he walks Wade Jr., and it's 8-7. He walked a tightrope right there. And then, obviously Ryan Nelson with the 2-run home run by Lee in the 7th. So the bullpen, 5 innings, 3 runs. It's got to be better. It's just got to be better. You got to be able to close out that game. I think they did close it out.
They did,
but you were up 7-2.
8-2.
You were up 7-2.
You were 8-2. 8-2.
8-2. Excuse me. 8-2.
Yeah.
You're up 8-2. Win the baseball game. And I think the last thing is Torey Lovello trying to throw out all 4 umpires. You're out. You're out. You're out. And you're all out of here. Get out. You're all out. You, and you.
Yeah. So that's
you're all out of here.
So here's what we're going to do on Burns and Gambo. Schedule release is coming down at 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, we're going to bring you the schedule. Then we're going to react to the schedule, and then we're going to do our prediction game, win, loss.
Oh, the prediction game.
Yeah, Lauren's rubbing her hands together. Mitch is all ready for what, Mitch?
Are we going to play the song?
Yeah, well, the Mac Wilson song. Not all of it. You talking about Mac Wilson's song?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're going to...
He says the whole schedule.
I know, but if it's like a 4-minute song, I don't want to play the whole
Well, we don't have time
song.
for that.
Yeah, but I know that everybody is anticipating The schedule release for the Arizona Cardinals is in the form of a Mac Wilson rap song that he has put together, the Cardinals starting inside linebacker.
Okay.
We're all looking forward to hearing because it's supposed to be really creative, really good. Like it's going to be the best schedule release video in all of the NFL this year. So absolutely, we will bring our audience some of that as well. We'll play the win-loss game, but we got to talk about this D-backs game. Gambo gave you the Cliff Notes version. It's our top story of the day here on the Burns and Gambo Show.
Burns and Gambo, the weigh-in.
D-backs lead by 1. The pitch. Swung on, a little flare into center. Thomas went out, now he comes in and he makes the catch. The ball game is over and the Diamondbacks survive. They win it by a final score of 8-7. By no means was it pretty, but a win is a win, and that's a series win on the road against the Giants. Once again, your final, Diamondbacks 8, Giants 7.
The thing I want to focus on here, Gambo, if we can, is two things in this first segment. I want to focus on what Chris just said there in the play-by-play cut and what you said at the beginning of the show. No matter how you got here, and this isn't us trying to put lipstick on a pig, this is just us telling you how it is. They won the game, and they won the series, and yeah, it wasn't easy, and yeah, it was really difficult, and yeah, it was really long. But considering they just completed a 16-game and 16-day stretch against some of the better teams, if not some of the best teams in the National League, and they went 8-8 during that stretch, on some fundamental level, you got to celebrate what actually was a win and a series win. Now, we can get into the details later, and I want to talk about the bullpen next because I think that's kind of like the big focus right now. But let's focus on the fact that they won this series and they kind of survived this grueling almost 2-week stretch, more than 2-week stretch of baseball without an off day. And I know we don't want to celebrate 500, but at the same time, I think it's noteworthy they survived this stretch the way they did.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, I think right now until they got Graveman back yesterday, they don't have J-Mart, they don't have Puck. I think a lot of this is survival. A lot of this is just try to stay a little bit above 500 and then eventually make your move. I mean, you win 2 out of 3 against the Giants team. That's been a pretty big surprise in baseball this year. The only game you lost, Robbie Ray went 6 innings and struck out 9, but you had him on the ropes. You had Robbie Ray on the ropes early, and you got some hits off of him, and you were able to take the lead. But eventually, they came back, and the bullpen is the bullpen's been a disaster. Mantiply yesterday and Murillo yesterday, and Shelby gave up a run today and had to walk a tightrope to get the save, and Ryan Nelson, who I'm a big fan of, came in and he struggled. So I think until they figure that out, with the bullpen as bad as it's been, I mean, just hanging around 500, a little over 500 is just something you're going to have to take.
Yeah, and it's not, look, we all have higher aspirations than 500. We all have higher aspirations than just kind of getting by and surviving. But AZ Snake Pit pointed this out on Twitter, and I don't want to bring this up. With the win today, the Diamondbacks are 8-8 over their last 16 games. The average winning percentage of the Diamondbacks' opponents over the last 16 games is about .624. That's about 101 win pace. So basically, for the last 2 weeks, without the benefit of day off, and with a bullpen that's in just tatters right now, absolute, crazy glue and duct tape trying to hold it together, they went 8-8, in which basically every night they were playing a team that was on a pace to win 101 games. Again, we don't champion mediocrity, but I do think you have to say it's noteworthy that they hung in there against this schedule, and they didn't lose a lot of ground. They didn't get buried. They're not like looking up at everybody and, oh man, we're screwed. We got a lot of work to do. They hung in there. They did okay. And now that they're out of this stretch, and now that they've got an off day, now they've got 3 coming up against the Rockies, yeah, they plunge right back into it with the Dodgers again next week, but I think they can come through this and go, okay, we managed all right. The bullpen is a mess right now. And we talked yesterday, Gambo, about leaving Shelby Miller in this role, even when guys start to come back.
Right.
I don't know if that can be the plan anymore. He threw 37 pitches in today's game, 38 pitches in today's game. I don't know if you can function like this in him either night. You got to do it until you get J-Mart back, but I don't know if you can do that when you get J-Mart back.
I don't know what the answer is. I think the Diamondbacks' answer at closer is on another baseball team right now. I really do.
Okay.
I think the answer is on another baseball team.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't think the answer is here, but until you get to the trade deadline, you got to have somebody close a baseball game. Shelby threw a lot of pitches today. Chapman single, ground rule double, Adames, walked Bailey, struck out Yaz, 95-mile-per-hour pitch. 3-2 on Wade Jr., who's not hitting very well. He walks in a run. And then, got lucky, number 9 hitter in Cos pops out to Alec Thomas. And they're able to win that game. But he walked a tightrope in that inning. Now, should it have been that way? No. I mean, you've got an 8-2 lead. Let's take care of business. But in the fourth inning, they got the Ramos 2-run double down the left field line off of Erod. So Erod's inability to protect that 8-2 lead put them in okay, this is going to be a baseball game. And then Ryan Nelson comes in and he gives up the 2-run home run to Lee, and it's 8-6. And you're like, okay, like it's going to be a dogfight. Yeah. It's just going to be a dogfight. They stopped scoring runs, Bernsey.
Well,
no runs in the 5th, no runs in the 6th, no runs in the 7th, no runs in the 8th, they stopped scoring runs.
2 on, 1 out in the 5th didn't score. 1st and 3rd, 2 out in the 6th didn't score. The Corbin Carroll liner at first when the bases were loaded in the double play.
He raked that ball.
I mean, it's just like total bad luck. He smashed that baseball. And if that ball gets past the first baseman, you're probably talking at least 2 score, if not the bases clear. Maybe not Herrera scoring from first because he's so slow. But you talk about missed opportunities. Yeah, that's part of the equation too. With this bullpen, and not that Justin Martinez is going to be the savior and he's going to fix everything. I don't think we can put that on him. We have to wait and see what he's going to do. It's going to be a long while until A.J. Puck is back. This bullpen is not going to be whole anytime soon. Even when J-Mark gets back, they're going to have to find a way to keep doing what they're doing. And I don't know how much more of it we can take. I don't know how much more of it they can take. I foresee a lot more nights like this where you're just going to have to hold on and hold your breath and hope for the best at the end of these games. But your theory is a really interesting one. Like if their closer is on somebody else's team, how much longer are they going to be able to hold out until they go get that guy? Because typically you don't see trades until about June, right? Like, and even that is a month and a half before the deadline. It might take a while before that guy even becomes available, Gambo.
I know, but what is the answer? I've liked Ginkel, but I'm not sure. I mean, you like J-Mart. If he comes back,
I'm not sure.
Right, okay.
I like Shelby Miller. I'm not sure about Shelby anymore.
Yeah, there's
right?
Nobody that you're sure about.
No, there's nobody down there that I go, okay, I feel. Even Ryan Nelson, I don't even know if I feel good about him anymore.
I mean, I did the other day, but
yeah.
Here's the thing. I mean, you love me, you love me not. I mean, every day it's with a different pitcher. It's Shelby was great, then Shelby's not good. Ryan Nelson was great, then Ryan Nelson's not good. Like it's Ginkel was great, and then Ginkel's not good. Like. Every day. The only guy that continuously sucks is Joe Mantiply. Joe Mantiply is the only guy that continuously sucks every time he takes the baseball.
Yeah,
he can't pitch in the major leagues anymore.
And
he can't. He's not a major league pitcher. He's got to be done.
Can't imagine how much longer he's going to be on this roster.
I'm surprised he's on the roster right now.
I am too.
But he's the only guy that literally, you when he comes in the game, you know the other team's going to score runs. Yeah. You know they are.
When we come back on the Burns and Gambo show, we will continue to react to the game, including Torey Lovello's big moment in the 8th inning, and we'll talk a little more about Eduardo Rodriguez and his outing. We're building towards the schedule release. It's coming up at 5 o'clock. We're going to unveil it live on the air here on the Burns and Gambo show, but more D-backs talk coming up next on Arizona Sports.
The NFL schedule release. We used to get it all in one afternoon, but some of the games are already known to the public. Just keep it on Arizona Sports for the full drop, okay? 98.7, Arizona Sports app, Arizona Sports YouTube channel, ArizonaSports.com.
JLC Roofing, here to help you right now with any and all of your roofing needs. Now, homeowners, listen up, because a lot of homeowners make the big mistake of waiting and never check their roof. They never look into it. And then eventually one day they realize, I need a new roof. And it costs a lot of money. It's not easy. It's not like they're expensive to put a new roof in. Now, yes, JLC Roofing offers our listeners $1,500 off a full replacement roof, so they're going to save you some money there. But what they also offer is free estimates. Because for a lot of you out there, there's some damage up on your roof. Little bit. Only a few $100s worth of damage. Some shingles out of place, some underlayment not in the right thing. Maybe a overgrown tree is doing some damage to your roof. You don't know it because you don't see it. That's why JLC offers free estimates. They'll come out to your house, they'll inspect your roof, they'll go through everything, and they'll tell you if your roof's in working order and fine, or if, hey, we could do this and that, and it'll help your roof last a little bit longer. And for a lot of people, they like that. I'll spend a few $100s here and save me a lot of money down the road. JLC Roofing, over 30 years in business right here in Arizona. Third-generation roofers. Call them at 602-ROOFING. That's 602-ROOFING.
Good credit, bad credit, no credit? Desert Wind Harley is accepting all credit applications. Bankrupt's on speed dial to help get you approved. Bankruptcy, divorce, even repos. Let Desert Wind Harley Davidson get you financed on a new Harley today. Visit desertwindharley.com.
On approved credit.
Hi, it's Vince Marotta from Arizona Sports. Have you been thinking about making a change in your career? You've heard me talk a lot about Y-Refi. Well, they're hiring. As a student loan advocate, you will guide their borrowers and co-borrowers through the application process, ensuring that you're helping each one of them in their unique situation. Many student loan advocates make six figures, and there is no cold calling. Y-Refi also offers great benefits, including 100% company-paid whole family health insurance and matching 401k. If you're interested, go to yrefi.com/careers or email careers@yrefi.com.
Hang on a minute. I got to break in here and tell everyone about the Memorial Preview Sale going on now at Brooklyn Bedding. That's right, now through May 14th. Everything in-store and online is 25% off. Everything is 25% off at Brooklyn Bedding. Brooklyn Bedding has 12 basin locations and absolutely no pushy salespeople. Tell them Wolf sent you and they will hook you up. For the best sleep ever, get the best mattress ever during the Memorial Preview Sale at Brooklyn Bedding.
Tired of fighting for your store's last bottle of water or lugging hundreds of bottles of water each year from the store to the car to the fridge to the recycling? For less than $1 a day from Parker & Sons, you can have an unlimited supply of bottle quality water right at your tap. Drinking water keeps you healthier, aids in weight loss, keeps skin hydrated, and flushes your body of toxins. Call Parker for your free estimate on a reverse osmosis system at 602-2-REPAIR or visit parkerandsons.com.
Okay, sometimes what was once in style just doesn't make any sense anymore. Like those outdated jeans. Oh, you know they look good at one point. But they no longer fit.
Hi, I'm Michael Halliday, attorney and partner at Morris Hall, a premier estate planning law firm. Just like fashion, your estate plan can become outdated over time. Whether it's new family members, changes in your financial situation, or shifts in your personal goals, your estate plan should reflect your current life. Think of it like spring cleaning. There's no point in keeping clothes that no longer fit. Much in the same way, key components of an estate plan can easily become outdated, like beneficiary designations, powers of attorney, and healthcare directives. These elements need to be periodically reviewed to ensure they align with your current circumstances. The attorneys at Morris Hall can help.
It's time to update your estate plan with Morris Hall. Schedule your complimentary consultation today at morrishall.com. That's morrishall.com.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. Go to nordicUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic.
Hey, it's Luke. How much can the Diamondbacks' first day off in a long time help their bullpen? We'll discuss tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports.
It's huge. I mean, I think a lot of us are excited to, get back home, just kind of take a day off tomorrow, spend some time with family and loved ones, and it's a baseball season, a long year, so right back at it on Friday.
All right, so that was Shelby Miller with Todd Walsh on D-backs TV in their post-game show talking about the first day off in 16 days. I remember, I think it was Mike Hazen who was talking about this a week ago, said, look, it happens to every baseball team, happens a couple times a year to every baseball team where you just have these very long stretches without an off day. You have to deal with it. And the Diamondbacks dealt with it, I suppose, as best as they possibly could by going 8-8. They've alternated wins and losses for 12 straight days now. But to go through that stretch with the quality of competition they played and to go 8-8, maybe not to be celebrated, but certainly it's a noteworthy accomplishment that they were able to survive. As the Diamondbacks win today, hang on by, just a thread against the Giants. Gambo, let's talk about Erod for a minute and his kind of meh performance today. It was was better than what we saw. Not, a dramatic improvement over what we saw, but it was better than the last time out.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm not gonna disagree. Like, he went 4 innings. Like, he's your number 5 starter. Okay, now he's your number 5 guy. I would like him to go a little bit deeper into these games. Protect that lead a little bit better. I mean, again, 8-2 after the Marte home run, and then Matos walks, Villar infield single, Ramos 2-run double. It's 8-4. Like, I didn't like that part of it. Threw a lot of pitches. They got him out of the game. I don't think – okay, here's the thing. I don't think that you take him out of the rotation off of that, but I don't think he's off the hook either. I don't think you're looking at him saying, this guy's an answer for us. Like, if they're playing a 7-game postseason series and they need 4 starters, he's the guy that's not starting.
Yeah.
So, what you hope out of a guy – like that is you hope that they could just give you innings and give you length, and he really wasn't able to do that. His ERA actually went down. He didn't, I think his ERA went down to like 7 today or something.
It's 7.05 right now is what his ERA is at. Yeah.
I don't know. What'd you think?
Okay, here's what I thought. I was driving in listening to this game, and I was listening to Erod knowing that he wasn't gonna last very long. And in my mind, I was thinking exactly how it went down today, that I wonder if Ryan Nelson becomes the guy that you just automatically piggyback on the back end of every Erod performance. And you just say, okay, that's...
You get 4 innings no matter what?
Exactly. That's how it's going to be. Hey, Erod, you give us 4, maybe 5 innings. Do the bet, as long as you don't get blown out, as long as you hang in there like you hung in there today... We'll make – it's kind of like what they were doing with Ryan Nelson with Corbin Burns early in the season, where it felt like it was 6 out of Corbin Burns and 3 out of Ryan Nelson. And I'm wondering if that should be the plan to make sure Ryan gets his pitches. He's got to pitch – and when I'm saying he, I mean Ryan Nelson. He's got to pitch better than he did today. Like, if you would have said you've got an 8-4 lead and Ryan Nelson is going to pitch 3 of the final 5 innings you've got – I would have felt really, really, really good about that because of Ryan Nelson. He wasn't great today, but I think maybe that's the plan moving forward, is to just piggyback Ryan Nelson on the back end of Eduardo Rodriguez starts, because it's not going to go very deep into the game. He's not going to give you a ton of innings, and that's a way to keep Ryan Nelson on a somewhat it's either that or commit to Ryan Nelson being a full-time reliever and just incorporate him into that plan.
The only thing is that there are other games that aren't every 5th day. Like, you go back to the Dodger game the other day. The Corbin Burns pitched a gem, 7 innings. It's a 3-0 baseball game. You go to Ryan Nelson, say, close this thing out. Let's make sure we get actually, it was 2-0, I think, when Ryan Nelson came into the game. And you protected it. So they needed him. He threw 2 scoreless innings. That was Saturday?
Saturday, yes,
Monday,
it was Saturday.
Tuesday?
Yep.
So Sunday, Monday. So he had 3 days of rest, and then you pitched him today. The only thing about the Erod thing is, you may need him twice in every 5 days instead of once every 5 days.
And it might be time, because your bullpen's so sketchy, it might be time to just commit to Ryan Nelson full-time as a reliever and just take him out of the equation when it comes to filling in for Erod.
What the hell happened? We went into this season, and even though they didn't have the closer, you were still like, all right, A.J. Puck was unbelievable last year. J. Mart's going to be better. Ginkel's always great. You've got your lefty and man supply. They got this Beeks kid who may be pretty good. They added great like Thompson. Like, we went into this thinking that their bullpen was going to be good, and their bullpen has been nothing. It's been a weakness.
Your question answers itself, basically. A.J. Puck got hurt within the first 3 weeks. Justin Martinez was dealing with some mysterious shoulder fatigue that he couldn't explain. Kevin Ginkel started the year hurt and clearly hasn't been right since he's been back. I mean, the first 3 guys you mentioned, their mere availability has been spotty at best for the first 7 weeks of the season. You just haven't had them. And so because of that, I agree with you. I thought this bullpen was going to be great. And is it enough to just say because of their lack of availability, that's what makes it not great? Or are you worried about the guys that are left just not being good enough, not as good as we thought with Ryan Thompson or Ginkel or anything like that? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but I'm starting to feel like Ryan Nelson, I just don't know if this bouncing back and forth is doing him or them any good. I'm almost starting to feel like they need to pick something with Ryan Nelson. He's either going to be a starter, and he needs to build himself back up, or he needs to commit full-time to a bullpen that's been thin. We got to take a break, though, because when we come back, and we'll have a lot more Diamondbacks talk in the 5 o'clock hour. NFL schedule release is upon us. When we come back, we'll know it, we'll have it, we'll tell it to you here on Burns and Gambo.
Bickley and Marotta mornings.
In my opinion, the idea that Kevin Durant doesn't fit the Rockets' timeline, I'm going to reject that. Because if you're in the business to win a title right here and now, then he fits your timeline perfectly. But I think the bigger question is, would you as the Rockets look at what Kevin Durant did or did not do for the Phoenix Suns and then come to the conclusion that the idea of trading for KD is not exactly in alignment with the reality and the experience of having Kevin
Bickley
Durant.
and Marotta, mornings on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
I'm looking at Sanderson Ford right now. They got From America for America employee pricing, and I'm going to give you a couple of prices right now that are phenomenal. How about financing a brand new 2024 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend 4x4, $412 a month, 72 months, $3,168 down. $412 a month at Sanderson Ford. How about this? A new 2025 Ford Escape, finance it for $417 a month with $2,983 down for 72 months. They've got a lot of great deals at Sanderson Ford right now where you can take advantage of some great financing options, get yourself into something brand new, and a lot of people like to switch out right around now because maybe you've got a lot of miles on your tires and you realize it's going to cost a lot to change the tires, or your AC doesn't work very well and we're going to be hitting June real soon and it's going to be 5 months of just heat, and you'd rather have a car with AC that works. Sanderson Ford, 51st Avenue in Glendale, or online for more information at sandersonford.com.
Every day, savings, energy efficiency, rebates. Every day at APS, you have ways to save energy and money. We know how important it is to keep your bill as low as possible. That's why we offer programs to help you manage your energy use. Schedule a home energy checkup for savings recommendations tailored to your home. Find rebates on smart thermostats. Compare your rate plan options and switch to the plan that would have saved you the most money. Find ways to save at aps.com/brighter.
Dan Bickley here with Mike Freeland, owner of Turf Monsters. And Mike, so many people rave about the quality of your work. What's your secret?
It's very simple, Dan. We're accountable. We do what we say we're going to do, and we do it right the first time. We're a one-stop shop that builds everything in your backyard from the pool tiles up. At Turf Monsters, we take great pride in our customers, and our finished products is what separates us from our competitors. We have the #1 installers in the Valley, and we're the #1 company for a reason.
Check out their work and schedule your free estimate online at turfmonstersaz.com.
We're Right Way Roofing and we do it right.
Hi, I'm Lori Clark, owner of Right Way Roofing, where we believe there's only one way, the right way. We only use the most durable, top quality products at a fair price. As a third-generation roofing company, we believe that if you have a lifetime tile, you should have a lifetime underlayment, which is why we only use the best products and offer the best warranties in the business. Look us up at azroof.com for a free estimate.
Hey, it's Wolf. The Valley's heating up, and if you're tired of battling that Arizona sun, call my friends at All Pro Shade Concepts. Their roll-down patio shades and retractable awnings are the real deal. Cooler patios, no glare, and total privacy. Now through Memorial Day, for every shade order, All Pro Shade will donate a pair of running shoes to a service member through their partnership with Shoes for Soldiers. So cool down your patio and support our heroes. Go to allproshade.com.
You've always been strong, but in the face of life's toughest moments, you're going to discover an even deeper strength within. These are the moments you go from strong to stronger. Because no matter how scary the diagnosis, we're ready to do whatever it takes. We've been training for this moment, so we can be there right when you need us. We're ready for cancer. Cancer isn't ready for us. Learn more at dignityhealthazcancer.org.
A new diamond era begins. Desert Diamond Casino White Tanks is now open. An atmosphere sparkling with excitement and top names like the legendary Morton's Steakhouse and signature Starbucks coffee. Best of all, this stunning new destination is right at Loop 303 and Northern Parkway. So come and live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino.
An enterprise of the Tohono O'odham Nation.
Hey, homeowners, discount agents might save you a little on commission, but if your home doesn't sell or sells for far less, you'll pay a big price. Avoid this mistake and have Carol Royce, your home sold guaranteed realty, show you how to price right and attract serious buyers. Carol will even guarantee to sell your home for 100% of market value, or she'll pay the difference. Don't wait. Call Carol Royce today or visit carolhasthebuyers.com. That's carolhasthebuyers.com. Caroline seller must agree on price and possession.
KMBP FM Phoenix.
Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
On the Arizona Sports app and on 98.7.
I'm Mitch Vareldis with Trending Now. It's presented by Parker & Sons Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical. 16 games in 16 days has officially ended. The Diamondbacks leave San Francisco with a series win, taking the finale 8-7. Ketel Marte cracked 2 home runs to power the offense in the win, in spite of leaving early due to stiffness, but per all the post-game reporting, he's going to be just fine. Even the manager, Torey Lovullo, says he will be back in the lineup on Friday, and that is when the Diamondbacks will be back in action. Just like we said, 16 days and 16 games, it's a lot. So they have the day off tomorrow. They'll start a fresh series at Chase Field on Friday against the Colorado Rockies. And any second now, the NFL schedule is set to drop. The Arizona Cardinals opponents in order. Couple of games had leaked, including reports out of New Orleans that Arizona will open the season on the road against the Saints. Moments from now, we'll see if that's legitimate or not. When the full schedule drops, Burns and Campbell will be reacting live and then making their game-by-game picks. I heard Burnsy's going for 12 wins this year. This report is brought to you by Morris Hall Estate Yeah, you like that. Morris Hall Estate Planning. Whether you need adjustments to an existing estate plan or just need to get one started, the attorneys at Morris Hall are ready to help. For a complimentary consultation, visit morrishall.com today.
Here are the top 3 headlines on Arizonasports.com, presented by Y-Refi. I'm Kevin Zimmerman. Mack Wilson Sr. will release the Cardinals' 2025 schedule in song form. Ketel Marte cranked 2 home runs early against the Giants, and 3 prospects the Suns should target if they get their NBA draft pick back from the Rockets. Those are the top 3 headlines on Arizonasports.com, presented by Y-Refi.
All right. Yeah, let's dance. The schedule is out, Gambo. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go.
Are we doing wins, losses? What are we doing?
No, not
here?
yet. No.
Not yet? Okay.
No.
All right.
We're doing that at 5:30. 5:30,
Okay.
We're doing wins and losses.
Okay.
Right now, we're just going to go through the schedule, and then we'll just kind of react to it and see what pops. So here we go. The schedule for the Arizona Cardinals in 2025. Week 1, they will open on the road at the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, they don't have a quarterback. I like that.
For the 3rd straight season.
I have no idea who their quarterback is.
For the 3rd straight season and 5th time in 6 seasons, the Cardinals start on the road. Who is the quarterback? Is it Spencer Rattler?
Spencer Rattler?
Is it Tyler Shuck? 2 local guys that were prep stars in Arizona. No idea.
Aaron Rodgers?
It's probably not Aaron Rodgers.
Is it Drew Brees?
Week 2 is the home opener against the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, I like that too.
Arizona will open its 20th regular season at State Farm Stadium. Yeah. 2nd straight game against an NFC South team to open the season. Okay,
yeah,
so
I like that. I don't think Carolina's a very good team. Although, Bryce Young, who we thought was going to be out of the league, actually played, pretty well last year when he got back into the lineup. He really, especially down the stretch, had some really good games, played extremely well. I think he ended the season. Remember, they beat the Cardinals.
Oh, yeah.
Carolina beat the Cardinals. It was in Carolina. It was an overtime game, if I remember correctly.
In December, it was a
and
very
the
bad
Panthers
loss.
Won that one with Bryce Young. But I still think that's a good matchup for the Cardinals.
Very bad loss for the Cardinals late in the season last year against Carolina. It's typically an organization, for whatever reason, they have just struggled against. Okay, so at New Orleans, home against Carolina.
Okay.
Week 3, they're at San Francisco to open up NFC West play.
They've got at least 5 primetime games.
San
Thursday
Francisco?
Night Football, the Rams. Sunday Night Football, Falcons. Monday Night Football, Panthers. Monday Night Football, Colts. Sunday Night Football, Bears. They've got a lot of primetime games from what I've seen.
Which is interesting, considering that some people think they're going to take a step back this year, given the losses they've suffered on that roster. So week 3 at San Francisco, the Cardinals swept them last year in 2024. Week 4, the Cardinals make their return to Thursday night football. Their first Thursday night appearance since 2022 when they beat the New Orleans Saints. They'll be home against the Seahawks on Thursday night football. So a short week coming out of the San Francisco game, going into Seattle at home on Thursday night football.
Cardinals are 4-7 all time on Thursday night, 4-7, but 0-3 against the Seattles on Thursday night football. So 4-7 record on Thursday night football games, 0-3 against the Seahawks.
It has been,
those games.
3 years since they've had a Thursday night football game. They are back. So with the mini bye then, that comes with playing on Thursday night football, they've got a little extra time to prepare themselves for a home game against the Tennessee Titans. Also, with uncertainty at quarterback, going with the rookie Cam Ward, we would presume a home game against Tennessee. So right out of the gate, 3 of the first 5 games are against some of those, at least what we think are going to be easier opponents coming out of the AFC and the NFC South. Tennessee is at home in Week 5.
Tennessee won 1 road game all of last year. They only won 3 games total. They were a terrible football team. I love the start for the Arizona Cardinals here. I think they could get some momentum going early with this schedule. It looks to be very favorable so far.
And along those lines, another AFC South team. They're at the Indianapolis Colts on Week 16. That's Jonathan Gannon going against his former coaching colleague, Shane Steichen, who is the head coach of the Colts. They were both Eagles coordinators. Week 6 at Indianapolis, Gambo.
Yeah, they played them last year. I believe they played them in the preseason. So
I believe you're right. It doesn't
matter.
They practiced together. Yeah.
I don't really think very much of Richardson as a quarterback yet. I mean, maybe he could win me over. I don't think they're a very good football team. I don't think that's a very good, that's a very good division. I would say that's another. That's an opportunity for me. I always look at, can you get some road wins? Can you get some road wins? And I look at that Colts game and I say, okay, there's an opportunity to go get a win on the road, because I don't think that team's very good.
And along those lines, it's 3 of their first 3. So I'm sorry, it's 3 road games, 3 home games in their first 6. Week 7, they're home against Green Bay, team that really took it to the Cardinals last year in Lambeau. That game is here. I would expect a massive invasion of cheeseheads for that game. That's probably the one, right? Arizona has won 3 of their last 4 at home against Green Bay, but Green Bay comes to Arizona in Week 7. So that is going to be probably the first toughest game of in terms of one of the truly good teams in the NFL. That could be the first real one for the Cardinals this season.
Yeah, they beat the heck out of the Cardinals. In Lambeau, and then obviously they went on to the playoffs. They lost to the Eagles in the playoffs. So that's a good football team. Love their quarterback, Jordan Love. They've got good wide receivers, good running back. That's a good, well-coached football team. That'll be a tough game at home. I also look at those. What are your toughest games at home? That's probably your toughest home game.
The Week 8 is the bye. It's the earliest bye week for the Cardinals since 2020. The last several years, they've had very late bye weeks, Week 12, Week 13, Week 14. So this is the earliest the bye week has been for the Cardinals in nearly half a decade.
So what's the date on that?
I don't know. I'm just going
October.
week by week here. Okay. I don't have the. Hold on, I do have the dates. I'm sorry, I've got it right now. That is Sunday, October 26th.
Okay.
So Sunday, October 26th is the bye. Okay.
Gotcha.
November 3rd, Monday Night Football in Dallas against the Cowboys, a building in which Kyler Murray has never lost a football game on any level he has ever played there. High school, college, pros, he's never lost in that building. On Monday Night Football, the Cardinals will visit the Dallas Cowboys for that game.
That'll be a hard game. That'll be a tougher game. I mean, I don't love the Cowboys. Obviously last year they had a really bad year. They won 7 football games, but Monday Night Football game on the road against Dallas, that's not going to be the easiest game.
Okay, Week 10, they're at Seattle, resuming division play. They have 9 road wins at Lumen Field. They have more road wins there than any team since the venue opened 24 years ago. They're at Seattle, and they'll be done with the Seattle Seahawks by the second week of November when they travel there in Week 10.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what I come up with. You got 2 against the 49ers, and obviously, 2 against Seattle, and I start to look at these games in the division. I'm like, okay, what can they do in the division between the 49ers, Seattle, and the Rams? Can they end up with a good? Because I don't think that I think the divisions. I think the Cardinals are better. I think the divisions come back a little bit, so I think that they can have a good record against the division.
Interesting that you say that, because then Week 11 is home against San Francisco, so they'll wrap up the season series with Seattle in Week 10. They'll wrap up the season series with San Francisco in Week 11 in a home game. They have yet to play the LA Rams so far in the schedule, for what it's worth. Week 12, back-to-back home games. They're home against the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game. First-year head coach, the number 2 overall pick, Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. Week 12 at home against Jacksonville, Gambo.
Home schedule looks pretty good for them. Jacksonville really struggled. You get the Hunter kid right away. Game you have to win. When I start to look at some of these games at home and you start to get towards the second half of the schedule here, you're trying to finish strong, which they've really struggled. Jacksonville was a really bad football team last year. They went 4-13. And away from Jacksonville, 1 win. They were 1-8 on the road last year. So I look at that game and I say, okay, that's a game at home. You've got to take care of business and beat that team.
Week 13, it's the classic Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray matchup. The Cardinals are at Tampa Bay, making their first visits there since 2019. The matchup obviously features the 2 former Oklahoma quarterbacks and teammates playing each other, both Heisman Trophy winners, both number 1 overall picks.
Yeah, Tampa's a good football team. Obviously a playoff team last year. Got into the wild card game, and it was 10-10 at halftime. Ended up losing to the Washington Commanders and Jason Daniels in that football game. But there's a lot of talent on that wide receiver core. Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback. That'll be a difficult game.
All right, so now we move to the first game against the LA Rams, Week 14 at home against the Rams. So they've already wrapped up both division games against Seattle and San Francisco. They get their first look at the LA Rams in Week 14 of the season, Gambo.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of looking at the Rams and just not 100% sure, how good they're going to be. I mean, obviously Cooper Kupp's gone and Aaron Donald's gone, but they've still got a lot of talent. Stafford's back. I look at some of the more recent games against them, and you figure, okay, it's not like there was a time when the Rams were beating the hell out of the Cardinals. I think they had won 8 or 9 straight. Going into 2021 from 17 to 21. The Cardinals had a lot of struggles against the Rams, but they the last 5 times they've played them, they've actually beat them twice. So I think it's evened out quite a bit. That'll be an interesting game, and especially the last one of the season when you get to that too.
Yeah, home against the Rams in Week 14. Week 15, they're at Houston, taking on the Texans in that game. A lot of Ohio State's players going to be on the field in that game, presumably. Paris Johnson Jr., C.J. Stroud, Marvin Harrison Jr., Cody Simon, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah,
I think Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm going by memory, I think he had a great game against the Rams when he played them.
Against the Rams, I believe you're right.
When you went back to the Rams, going back to the Rams, when you mentioned that home game against the Rams before you get to Houston, I believe that there was a really strong game for Marvin Harrison against the Rams when he played them.
Week 15 at Houston, Week 16 at home against the Atlanta Falcons, 12-2 at home all time in the series, 5-0 there. So they get the Atlanta Falcons late in the season at home. Back-to-back road games to close out the season, Gambo, and that is at Cincinnati in Week 17. Ooh. Going to be chilly. That's going to be a cold game, we would expect. So go ahead.
That's the one you look at and you say, okay, if I'm going to – that's the one. If I say, okay, a lot of these games I feel comfortable the Cardinals can win, and some of them you're like, I think they can win this one. And then if you said, give me one game you don't think they're going to win, I'd probably pick that game.
Yeah. And then Week 18, in a game that at least potentially could decide the division title in the NFC West, potentially, the Arizona Cardinals close out the season in L.A. against the Rams.
Yeah, that'll be – but you wonder if the team has anything to play for when you get down to that game. But the Cardinals, like I said, the Cardinals have played better against the Rams in recent years after really struggling against them. You look at the games last year and, you see when the 2 times that they played them, the first time they played them, they beat them 41-10. I'm just trying to look at what Marvin Harrison did in that game, because I kind of remember him having a good game. 4 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that was when it was all in the first half, right? It was all in the first quarter, if I remember right. Yeah.
So that was, and then they lost to him 13-9. So they beat the hell out of him, and they lost to him in a close football game. I think the tide's turned a little bit. I'm not against picking the Cardinals to win on the road against the Rams. In the past, I wouldn't have done it. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility now.
All right, stay with us, because when we'll take a break here on Burns and Gambo. When we come back, we'll give you kind of our immediate snapshot reaction. We went through it game by game. I'll give you the kind of quick version when we come back, and then we'll react to the tough pockets, the easy pockets, where the challenges are, what we expect in that regard, and, of course, the song, the Mack Wilson song. Haven't even heard it yet. We will next on the Burns and Gambo Show.
D-backs decision makers from the team's front office join Wolf and Luke Wednesday mornings at 11:45 for D-backs Front Office Focus. Brought to you by Canvas Annuity. The home of Arizona Diamondbacks baseball is Arizona Sports 98.7 and the Arizona Sports app.
Love telling you about Christian Brothers AC, Plumbing, and Electric. It might be time right now to get that AC unit tuned up. We've got a little bit of a break with the weather. The weather's been really good. Now, I will tell you, if you need a new AC unit, Christian Brothers carries all of the major brands on AC units. So if you feel like, hey, I don't want to risk it, they carry Trane, they carry Goodman, they carry Bryant. They've got 18 months of interest-free financing. Pay it off over time without paying any interest, so you could save right there with a new AC unit. But if you just want a tune-up, they do a condenser coil clean, condensate drain line flush, and check out your whole unit for $129. That's a great price to have some real work done on your AC unit. We're talking about cleaning the condenser coils. Very important to do. Going up in the attic, doing the condensate drain line flush, all included for $129 when you go with Christian Brothers for your AC tune-up. Christian Brothers has been around for a long time, since 1976. Nobody does it better. Call them at 602-222-3535. That's 602-222-3535.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Hey, Ron Wolfley here for my brothers over at Presidential Pools. Go to PresidentialPools.com. Are you looking to build your dream pool? Go with the name Arizona trusts most. That's Presidential Pools. As the #1 pool builder in Arizona by volume, they earned my business, and now I'm recommending them to you because of what they did to the Wolfley compound. And to show their gratitude for military members and first responders, they offer exclusive discounts. Presidential Pools, they love our military and first responders. Go to presidentialpools.com.
If you're feeling overwhelmed by the thought of a home remodel, don't stress. The Window Depot is here to help. At the Window Depot, we're your one-stop warehouse for everything you need for your next remodel. Windows? Check. Doors? Got it. Cabinets, countertops, and everything in between, you'll find it all here at the lowest prices. Whether it's a kitchen, bathroom, or whole home makeover, our experienced designers are ready to bring your dream home to life, all at unbeatable prices. Find a location near you or shop online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Hi, it's Vince Marotta from Arizona Sports. Have you been thinking about making a change in your career? You've heard me talk a lot about Y-Refi. Well, they're hiring. As a student loan advocate, you will guide their borrowers and co-borrowers through the application process, ensuring that you're helping each one of them in their unique situation. Many student loan advocates make 6 figures, and there is no cold calling. Y-Refi also offers great benefits, including 100% company-paid whole family health insurance and matching 401k. If you're interested, go to yrefi.com/careers or email careers@yrefi.com.
Toyota's Summer Starts Here national sales event is going on now. Choose from the best-selling Toyotas like Camry, 4Runner, RAV4, Tacoma, and more. Visit any one of the 10 Valley Toyota dealers or valleytoyotadealers.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
It was a mistake that my wife and I made many years ago, and it's one that we will never, ever do again. I hope we're not in the situation where we have to call Berg Simpson. I hope you're not in the situation where you have to call Berg Simpson. But I'm here to tell you right now, if we're in the same situation we were in a few years ago, we are absolutely calling them to get them on our side. We got T-boned at an intersection in Gilbert many years ago. And because the accident wasn't our fault, we assumed that everything was going to come really easy for us. And boy, were we wrong. Everything was hard. Everything was hard dealing with the insurance company. Everything was hard dealing with the medical. Everything was a fight and a battle, and it shouldn't have to be that way. You need somebody like Berg Simpson on your side, and Berg Simpson just different than the rest. You do your homework, you do your research, you'll find out why very quickly. Lots of choices out there. When you want the best on your side, let Berg Simpson represent you. 602-777-7000. That's 602-777-7000, or visit them, bergsimpson.com. Berg Simpson, good lawyers, changing lives.
The man is in the building.
Storm coming. You know we coming, better get around. Yeah. Bird gang. Yeah, shit. K1 told me what's the play. Let's fine-tune some things, then we off the Tampa Bay. Love the Superdome on the road against the Saints. Cheese in the safe at the crib, Green Bay. Uh-huh. Get in the field, you know the boys make it happen. Brought the heat with us cause it get cold in Cincinnati. The Bird gang get home against the Atlanta Falcons. Another fight I came, cowboy hat cause we in Dallas. Yeah, we scrap it up, get ready to battle. Hit so hard like we had 12 men, we in Seattle. Levi's on, quick trip to the 49ers. Before I leave the house, I made sure I grabbed my Bible. Told bro to tighten up, cause Tennessee home. The next week, could be an division opponent though. So far, so fly, LA on the road. And Lucas all against the coast, it'll be a show. Huh? Now we on to the bye week. Time to relax here with the fam and get off our feet. But you best believe I'm locked in on the next week. The Jag came to our home, I told coach to send me. 1, 2, 3, knock him down. 4, 5, 6, in and out. 7, 8, 9, tap out. You wanna what the hype out, then come around and find out. 1, 2, 3, knock him down.
The song is called 18 Bars. Every team creatively really tries to flex its muscles this time of year to creatively announce their schedule to their fan base.
Yeah.
And the Arizona Cardinals turn to Mac Wilson Sr., who's collaborated with Big Head Music Group to create that song, 18 Bars. The song and the music video were both released today at 5 o'clock. They're available on most major music platforms, including Apple Music, Spotify, in addition to all the Cardinals' digital channels, YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook. He is entering his 7th NFL season, his 2nd with the Cardinals. He's very active in the music scene. He performs under the name Rocket Ship, and I got to admit, that was pretty cool. I'm going to go back and watch the whole video and listen to that. That sounds like it was a lot of fun, a really creative way of doing it.
Have we had any athletes that have kind of got into the music thing in the past? I know we've had athletes that got into the restaurant business, but have we had anybody that's gotten into the music?
Deion Sanders for a while was...
No, but like locally?
Oh, locally. Oh, well, wasn't... Oh, boy. Who was the pitcher with the Diamondbacks? He was in a band. He was
Bronson Arroyo.
Bronson Arroyo, yeah.
Bronson
he had a band.
Arroyo.
He had a band. Yeah, he had a band.
Yeah, Bronson Arroyo. Yeah, he was pretty good.
And it was pretty good. They were pretty well known. But like, no. And so, you know, look, this has been in some ways the talk of the league for the last, 24 hours or so. Ian Rappaport kind of teased it on Pat McAfee's show. This morning, Kyle Brandt released a video. Our good friend, Mr. AZ on sports, he got on Twitter. He got a little preview. Wolf and Luke got a little preview of it. Like, the Cardinals been building towards this, and I can't wait. We haven't had time. I can't wait to go watch the video. But just listening to the lyrics, it sounds like a really cool presentation of the schedule. Good. So kudos.
I'm looking at the video right now.
Yeah, right? It's cool, right?
Yeah, he's like making the video, and you can just see some of the guys. James Conner, like in the background, like it's like you got guys in like movie theater seats, kind of just like
watching the season. Yeah,
watching
right?
as he's like going through it.
I caught like
Marvin Harrison Jr. is in it. Pretty good.
Like a 20-second glimpse of it, but I want to watch the whole thing. Mostly, I wanted to listen to it, and it sounds like a really cool way of telling you about who they're playing and what it means to them. So
I see Michael Wilson. Yeah, okay. There's a lot of those guys in there.
Kudos to the Cardinals. Kudos to Mac Wilson. That's really cool. Really cool. All right. So again, I told you where you can find it all. Of course, you can find it at arizonasports.com as well. We got a link to it. So if you want to listen to it, download it, you can. Here's the rapid fire version. At the Saints, home against the Panthers, at San Francisco. Home against Seattle, home against Tennessee, at Indianapolis, home against Green Bay. Then the bye. At Dallas on Monday Night Football, at Seattle, home against the Niners, home against the Jags. At Tampa Bay, home against the Rams, at Houston, home against Atlanta, at Cincinnati, at the Rams to close out the season. Give me your initial takeaways. What do you got?
I think the schedule bodes really well for them. That's my initial takeaway. They don't get the primetime games. What'd they get? 1?
2. They got the Thursday night game against Seattle and the Monday night game against the Cowboys.
So 2. So that's what we said. We'll settle for 2. Yeah, they had 1 last year. My initial thought is you got to take advantage of all the games before the Packers home game. At New Orleans, home to Carolina, at the 49ers, home to Seattle, home to Tennessee, at the Colts. I look at that stretch right there where you can win some games. I think after that, it gets difficult. The Packers, at the Cowboys, at Seattle. I think the middle is a pretty difficult stretch there. 49ers, so Packers, Dallas, Seattle, 49ers. Jags, Bucks. I think that's the middle's difficult. And I think the end is kind of like a little bit of both. Atlanta is kind of easy. Cincinnati, kind of hard. Rams, I'm not sure. But I think my initial thought is you look at those first 6 games, I think they can get out 5-1.
Yeah.
I think they can get out 5-1 in those 6.
It's funny. If you're working from home today, I wish I could show you kind of how I had bracketed this. But in a way, I bracketed it almost exactly the same way you did. The first 6 games I look at, and I think there's a real opportunity for the Cardinals to come out of the gate very, very strong. At New Orleans, home against Carolina, at San Francisco, Thursday Night Football against Seattle, home against Tennessee, at Indianapolis. It seems like a real easier, I'm not going to say easy, but an easier way to start the schedule. I'm looking at, I'm like drawing a line after the Jags game. 4 of their last 6 games are at Tampa Bay, home against the Rams, and then at Cincinnati, at the Rams in the last 2 games of the season. I told you I was going to look how they finished the schedule.
Yeah.
It's tough. You know, in the middle there's at Houston and home against Atlanta. Okay. But I'm looking at those last 6 games, and 4 of those games, because I believe the Rams are going to be good again. I think with that young defense and Stafford coming back, I think the Rams are probably the favorite in the division. The fact that you don't play the favorite in the division until you do it twice in the last month and a half of the season, and you've also got road games to Cincinnati in the middle of winter and a road game against Tampa Bay. They're very good. The finish is going to be tough, Gambo. They make it tough on themselves with how they play these games in November and December, but that schedule, I don't love it at the end the way it brackets out.
Yeah. That's why you got to start off strong. You have to start off strong, create a little wiggle room.
Yeah, and that's where those 6 games come into play. Again, 2 primetime games. Thursday Night Football at home against the Seattle Seahawks. That's on September 25th. And then at Dallas on Monday, November 3rd, a Monday Night Football game with a reminder again that Kyler Murray has never lost a game at AT&T Stadium in Dallas. As a high schooler, as a college player, as a pro player, he's never lost there. All right, so when we come back, without any pre-oriented ideas of how many wins and how many losses, we're all going to go through it, the 4 of us, and predict the Cardinals schedule next on the Burns and Gambo Show.
Bickley and Marotta mornings.
1.8% chance for the Dallas Mavericks.
So do you believe it was rigged?
Yes, I
Okay.
do. I absolutely do.
Okay.
There was a massive trade that made no sense to anyone. And the parameters of that trade were so fishy, it smelled like that market in Seattle.
Uh-huh.
This is why. Nico Harrison and the
Right.
Dallas Mavericks made the golden franchise of the NBA relevant for another decade. Now they've got Luka and they can build around him. Wink, wink. Thanks, Nico. Here you go.
Bickley and Marotta, mornings on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
It's always a pleasure to tell you about V's Barbershop. So easy to get your appointment. You go to vbarbershop.com. You can book your haircut. You could book your hot lather shave. If you've never had the hot lather shave at V's Barbershop, man, it is a treat. It is just 30 minutes of pure relaxation. It is an awesome experience. Everything about V's is an awesome experience. They employ the very best barbers in the Valley, in some cases the best barbers in the country. The environment, and it's unique, it's old school, it's throwback, but like I say, it's got that modern twist. You don't have to sit around and wait for a barber chair to open up. You can just go online, schedule your appointment, get whoever you want, whenever you want. It's the best of both worlds. It's at V's. They're all over the Valley. 25 years of great service. You will not be disappointed. I'm never disappointed when I go to V's Barbershop. Book your appointment today. Go to vbarbershop.com for your next haircut at V's.
Are you afraid of running out of money in retirement? If so, you're not alone. In fact, studies show it's people's #1 concern, but there is a solution. Canvas Annuity offers a retirement savings product with one of the most competitive crediting rates in the country, up to 6.2% per year. The best part is you can get access to these industry-leading rates online in a few simple steps by visiting canvasannuity.com. Great rates, simple online products.
Dan Bickley here with my guy, Shane O'Hanrahan, GM at Chapman BMW, one of the best dealerships you are going to find on the planet.
That's because we're different, Bick. We're a family-run business for 58 years. We have employees that have worked at our store for 30 and up to 40 years. It's a great place to work and a family that cares about its employees and its customers. So put us to the test. Come on down, see how easy it is to do business with Chapman BMW, and I'll ensure you'll get the very best deal.
That's Chapman BMW, 2 great locations,
1 great experience.
Okay, sometimes what was once in style just doesn't make any sense anymore. Like those outdated jeans. Oh, you know they look good at one point. But they no longer fit.
Hi, I'm Michael Halliday, attorney and partner at Morris Hall, a premier estate planning law firm. Just like fashion, your estate plan can become outdated over time. Whether it's new family members, changes in your financial situation, or shifts in your personal goals, your estate plan should reflect your current life. Think of it like spring cleaning. There's no point in keeping clothes that no longer fit. Much in the same way, key components of an estate plan can easily become outdated, like beneficiary designations, powers of attorney, and healthcare directives. These elements need to be periodically reviewed to ensure they align with your current circumstances. The attorneys at Morris Hall can help.
It's time to update your estate plan with Morris Hall. Schedule your complimentary consultation today at morrishall.com. That's morrishall.com.
Love telling you about the Lund Mortgage Team, where they're helping people every single day with all of their mortgage needs. I was looking at something today. Arizonans must work 70-plus hours a week to afford the average apartment. That was on ABC 15. Yeah, that was today. Arizonans must work 70-plus hours a week to afford the average apartment. The rental prices are kind of high in Arizona, but you can combat that when you work with the Lund Mortgage Team to buy your own home. No, you don't have to rent forever. But as the rent prices continue to go up, we've seen house prices start to come down. We've seen house prices level off. The Lund Mortgage Team is helping a lot of our listeners get pre-approved for a mortgage for free. Those of you that have been renting for a while and realizing that, hey, I'm not really getting anything out of it, you'd like to have your own home. You'd like to have equity in something that's yours, building equity and wealth for you and your family, and obviously getting some write-offs at the end of the year with that mortgage insurance. Let the Lund Mortgage Team help you. Call them at 623-889-0130 for all of your mortgage needs, refinance, new home loan, pre-approved for a mortgage. Call them at 623-889-0130.
I'm Mitch Vareldes with Trending Now. It's presented by Parker & Sons Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical. It's here. The Arizona Cardinals' schedule is out, along with the other 31 NFL teams. They will open up on the road in New Orleans, and then from there, the home opener will be Week 2, hosting the Carolina Panthers. As far as other notable items on the Cardinals' schedule, 2 games on national TV. A Thursday night affair, Week 4 at home against the Seattle Seahawks. That again will be on Prime Video Thursday night. And then a Monday night the week after the bye, November 3rd at AT&T Stadium in Jerry World. Kyler Murray not lost in that stadium in his football career. Those are the highlights of the schedule. Burns and Gamma are going to go game by game and pick the winners and losers. We're all wondering how many wins Burnsy's going to have. And the 16 games in 16 days stretch is over for the Diamondbacks, and they ended on a high note, a series victory, taking the finale against the Giants 8-7. Ketel Marte hit 2 home runs to power the offense in the win. They're making their way back to the Valley now. They have the day off tomorrow and then start a series against the Rockies on Friday. This report is brought to you by Blue Sky Pest Control. Worried about scorpions? Blue Sky Pest Control gets results. Call 602-BLUE-SKY. Hello, Blue Sky. Goodbye, scorpions.
Hey, Hey everybody, Dan Bickley here. What will the Cardinals schedule look like in its entirety? We'll discuss tomorrow morning starting at 6 a.m. on Arizona Sports.
Yeah, you'll hear that breakdown coming up tomorrow morning. You'll hear Arizona Sports tonight, the crew with Kellen and Mitch. They've got it coming up at 6 as well. We welcome you back to the Burns and Gambo show here, and it's a time-honored tradition with the two of us. Schedule, hot off the presses, literally printed it up, so I had it right here in front of me. I think we all did as well. Gambo and I are going to go through it, and what's funny about this, and Gambo can attest this kind of becomes our prediction on record for the upcoming season, right? Like this is it. Like this is what we're telling you is going to happen.
This is it.
It's not like we're going to come back in August and say, okay, you know how I said they were going to do this? No, really, I meant that. No, this is what we're saying it's going to be. And last year, I infamously predicted 11 wins and didn't realize it until it was already over. And
it's true.
Okay, yes.
It's true.
So we're going to do this again, and Mitch and Lauren are going to chime in, and we're all going to make predictions on the season. And I have not come up with a predetermined win total.
Oh, that's right. Me either.
I've not done that.
Go game by game. We'll figure it out.
Game by game, and we're going to add it up, and it's going to be what it's going to be, Gambo. I have not come into this. I hinted that I might do that earlier. I'm not. Okay. I have not come up with a predetermined win total. So with that in mind, away we go. Week 1, Sunday, September 7th, at the New Orleans Saints to open the season. We'll rotate around who goes first. Gambo, we'll start with you.
I'm going to take the Cardinals at home against the Saints. The Saints shut out of primetime for the first time in 25 years. First time in 25 years, the Saints are not a do not have a primetime game. Coming off a 5-12 campaign, hitting the reset button with Kellen Moore as its new coach. I think this is a great spot for the Cardinals at home to get a winning week 1.
I just want to correct you to make sure it doesn't change your mind. That game's on the road in New Orleans.
On the road,
it's not at home.
on the road.
Okay.
On the road, yes.
On
the road at New Orleans, they're going to get a win.
I've also got a win in week 1 for the Cardinals against the Saints. Mitch?
Let's start on a high note. We'll give him a win as well.
Lauren?
I'm giving him a win as well.
Fantastic.
All right, here we go.
Week 2, home opener against the Carolina Panthers. I will start this one. I've got the Cardinals going to 2-0 and avenging last year's soul-crushing loss on the road against the Panthers that really took the season and turned it upside down. I got the Cardinals 2-0 with a win against the Panthers. Mitch?
I'll be the pessimist in the room. I'm giving them a loss in week 2.
Okay. Whew. They've struggled with the Panthers. Lauren?
They have struggled with the Panthers, but this year they're going to get it right, and they're going to get a win.
Gambo?
I'm going to go win. I'm going to go the Cardinals start out 2-0 at home against Carolina. They'll take care of business there.
Okay. Week 3, Sunday, September 21st at the San Francisco 49ers, first division game of the year. Mitch, we're rotating this around. You get to go first on this one.
This is where they shocked a lot of people last year, getting that road come-from-behind victory against San Francisco. And San Francisco feels like they're in a weird spot this year. So I'll give the Cardinals the benefit here. I'll give them a win.
Lauren?
I think that the 49ers are also in a weird spot, but that will not stop them from beating the Cardinals. I'm giving them a loss.
Gambo?
This is a tough one. I'm going to say loss. I'm going to say the 49ers at home will take care of the Cardinals.
And I am going last on this one. I am going to say a win for the Arizona Cardinals and a 3-0 start on the road.
A classic Burnsy start.
Classic Burnsy start.
No, it's the big finish where Burnsy shines.
Home against the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday night football. Lauren, you get to start this one.
They're coming off of a short week, and that will be a loss.
Gambo, you're next.
They're going to beat Seattle at home.
Okay.
They're going to beat Seattle at home.
I am next. I also think the Arizona Cardinals are going to beat Seattle at home. I've got them 4-0. Mitch?
Man, reverse for Burnsy this year. All right, I'm going to do something incredibly stupid, but every game between Cardinals and Seahawks has been incredibly stupid. I'm putting a T in week 4.
A tie?
A tie.
A tie?
Woo. T for tie.
I love it.
Okay. Hey, you know what?
Why?
2 words. Chandler Catanzaro. That's why.
Okay. Hey, you know what? It is your schedule. You can do whatever.
It's going to be
you
wrong.
want
I don't
with it.
care. I just want to be.
You can do whatever
I'll have
you
fun
want
with
with it. Okay. Week 5, Sunday, October 5th. I got to speed this up a little bit. They are home against the Tennessee Titans. Gambo, you first.
Win. They're going to win that game. Start off 4-1.
Okay. I've also got a win for the Cardinals against the Titans in a 5-0 start. Mitch?
Coming off of a rough tie, I'll give them a win.
They're getting a win.
At home, on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. Put me down for my first loss of the year. They lose at Indianapolis against the Colts.
Wow,
It's possible for them to lose?
Yeah, it is. It's possible for the Cardinals to lose. Got them at 5-1 on the season. Mitch, you're next.
All right, at 3-1-1, I'm going to give them the benefit again. 4-1-1 to start the year.
Lauren?
It's going to be a loss.
Okay. Gambo?
They will beat the Colts in Indianapolis to start the season 5-1.
I have them 5-1 to start the season.
5-1.
Your past is haunting you.
I know it is. It's being used against me completely. At home against the Green Bay Packers. Mitch, you're up first.
This will be a loss. The Packers just feel like the better team to me.
Okay, Lauren?
Oh, we know what she's picking.
A loss.
You're picking a loss?
I don't want to pick it.
Okay. Gambo?
Loss. Packers will beat them.
I've also got a loss. Okay. Bye week. Then Monday, November 3rd, they're at the Dallas Cowboys. Lauren, you're first.
Win.
Gambo, you're next.
Loss.
Ooh.
The Cowboys will win that game.
Okay.
Short week.
I've also got a win against the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football. I'm going with Kyler on this one. He doesn't lose there. Mitch?
I am as well. Big W and Big D for the Cards.
Sunday, November 9th at the Seattle Seahawks. Gambo, you're first.
I'm going with my 3rd straight loss after a 5-1 start. Seattle at home. I'll take them. Cardinals now 5-4 on the season.
Okay. I've got a loss for the Arizona Cardinals at Seattle. Mitch?
Short week after another road game. I will also go loss.
Lauren?
Win.
Win. Ooh.
I need them. In my head, they need to split with the Seahawks, so they're going to split, but do it at each other's home
Okay,
stadiums.
fantastic. Okay, so we're all registered there. Sunday, November 16th at home against the 49ers. I'm first, and I've got a win for the Arizona Cardinals there. Mitch?
I will give them a win as well.
Lauren?
Loss.
Gambo?
I've got them winning that game against the 49ers at home.
Okay. Next week at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mitch, you're up first.
This should be easier than it is, but we're at that back half of the schedule, and it's going to get weird, so I'll put this down as my weird loss in the back half of the schedule.
Okay. Lauren?
I'm giving them a win here.
Yep. Gambo?
I'm taking a win as well.
Okay. I've got the win as well for the Cardinals against Jacksonville. Sunday, November 30th, the Sunday after Thanksgiving, the Cardinals are in Tampa, taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who led off that last one? Was it, where am I? I've lost
Mitch
track.
did.
I think we're on Lauren.
Lauren, you're first. Go ahead.
That will be a loss.
Okay. Gambo?
I'm going to take a loss as well. That would move them to 7-5 with that loss on my schedule.
I have a loss for the Cardinals at Tampa Bay. Mitch?
Loss as well.
Okay. Sunday, December 7th, the Cardinals at home against the LA Rams. Gambo?
I got a win.
Okay. I also have a win at home against the LA Rams. Mitch?
Loss. Angeles will beat the Cardinals. Loss.
Okay. Lauren?
Cardinals win.
Okay. Sunday, December 14th at the Houston Texans. I go first, and I've got an L for the Arizona Cardinals against the Texans. Mitch?
I will give them a shocking win on the road in Houston.
Lauren?
Loss.
Gambo?
I'm going loss as well.
Okay. Sunday, December 21st at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Mitch?
Loss.
Lauren?
Loss.
Gambo?
Michael Penix Jr.? Come on, give him a win. Cardinals get that win.
I agree with my esteemed colleague, John Gambadoro. I've got the Cardinals winning against the Atlanta Falcons at home. Saturday or Sunday, yet to be determined, at the Cincinnati Bengals. Lauren, you're first.
I got to go with my boy Joe Burrow. That's a loss for the Cardinals.
Gambo?
Loss for the Cardinals.
I have a loss for the Cardinals on the road in Cincinnati.
Make it 4 for 4.
Okay. And then finally, to wrap up the season, at home, January 3rd or 4th, at the LA Rams. Gambo, go.
I have a win, and that would make the Cardinals 10-7.
I have a loss, and that would make the Cardinals 10-7. Mitch?
I have a loss. I'll do my math later.
Well, it involves a tie, so there's that.
Well, I just have to count one away, that's all.
Lauren?
I have a loss, and Mitch has been keeping track of what I've been saying, so when he calculates it, I'll get back to you.
Okay, so the schedule has been predicted upon by the Burns and Gambo show. Gambo, you've got them 10-7, yes?
I got them 10-7.
I got a 10. I just want to make sure. 10-7. I have losses at Indianapolis, home against Green Bay, at Seattle, at Tampa, at Texas, at the Bengals, and at the Rams. Do I have them winning a road game? I do. I have them winning in San Francisco. That's the only road game I've got them winning. Boy, I've got them losing on the road a bunch.
Okay, I've got my record.
What do you got, Lauren?
I've got him exactly the reverse. I have him 7-10.
7-10?
Yeah, and Mitch has an even more interesting one.
Mitch?
Can I tell him after the break, or do we?
No, go ahead. Tell us now, please.
7-9-1.
Wow. Wow. 7-9-1.
We're a little more optimistic than you guys.
7-10, 10-7, 10-7. I do have the Cardinals losing 4 of their last 6 games, which I think tracks, unfortunately. Yeah. So does Lauren. Yeah. All right. So 10-7, 10-7, 7-9-1, 7-10 is the predicted finish for the Arizona Cardinals. Much more in the schedule release. You can find it at arizonasports.com. In the meantime, when we come back, one last pass through the white-knuckle ride that was the Arizona Diamondbacks series win against San Francisco. They got it, but just barely. We'll talk about it next on Burns and Gambo.
Wolf and Luke, middays 10 to 2.
Listen, I think so much of the time, somebody who hits an awful lot of home runs and drives in runs, I mean, let's face it, that is your MVP right there.
I'm trying to put the stats together as you're talking, so I have some of them, okay, just for the case of Corbin Carroll. Number 3 in the National League in runs, number 2 in home runs, number 2 in hits, number 1 in triples, number 8 in RBIs, number 1 in total bases.
That puts him
pretty
squarely right in the conversation of MVP.
Yeah.
Wolf and Luke, middays 10 to 2 on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
Asset Preservation, Wealth, and Tax. Ready to help you right now with your financial needs, your retirement plans. And you think like, hey, you know what? I'm 28, I'm 35, I'm 42. I mean, any of you out there in those age groups, late 20s, in your 30s, early 40s, you don't think about it so much. You're too busy with life to worry about financial planning and retirement planning. You're just putting in your 401k and your Roth IRA and you're hoping for the best. I'm telling you, not the way to go. You want to have a true fiduciary, a financial expert working with you to help you grow that nest egg. Big difference. The sooner you start with somebody that knows what they're doing, the better off you're going to be in the long run. And all the statistics prove that and show that. That's why I recommend Stuart Willis from Asset Preservation, Wealth, and Tax. Guy's done a great job for me in helping me with my financial plan, retirement plan, because, again, life comes at you quick. All of a sudden you realize, hey, you're not 28 anymore. You're not 32 anymore. You're in your 50s. You start to look at retirement around the corner. You start to figure things out. Are you in a good spot to live the life you want to live? That's why I recommend Asset Preservation, Wealth, and Tax. I really believe in what they do to help not only me, but you put yourself in a position to have a great financial future. Give them a call at 602-877-PLAN. That's 602-877-PLAN.
Investment advisory services offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Hey, get in.
What? Who are you?
I'm future you.
Constipation with belly pain still coming back?
Yeah.
Mia, our doctor figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Life can be stressful, but selling your home doesn't have to be. I'm Carol Royce with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and I make home selling easy by properly pricing your home and getting it in front of thousands of my exclusive qualified buyers. Do what Jackie and Mark did, selling in just 5 days for full market value. Call me, Carol Royce, and ask about my 100% of market value or I'll pay the difference guarantee. Or visit carolhasthebuyers.com.
Carol and seller must agree on price and possession.
Fast, reliable, trustworthy, reputable, highly decorated. Those are all words used to describe Parker & Sons, the company you call for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. Listen, you need to trust who you let into your home and who you let fix your home, and that's why you call Parker with your sacred space, a company that has served the Valley for 50 years. Call 602-2-REPAIR. That's 602, the number 2, then REPAIR for Parker & Sons.
All right, back here for Global Credit Union, whether it's checking accounts, savings accounts, loans, basically everything you would go to a bank for, you go to Global Credit Union for, because it's just better. You have more benefits. You have more options. They're more interested in you than they are interested in the shareholders and the stockholders that banks have to answer to. There's a real partnership that Global Credit Union has with its members, 750,000 strong, one of the largest credit unions in the United States. So when it comes to all of your financial services and you want it done right and you want it done better, you want to go to Global Credit Union so you can reduce your fees, so you can always talk to live people about your money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's all just better at Global Credit Union, and that is why I am a very happy member. Explore all the benefits of becoming a member at globalcu.org. Your world of financial possibilities. Free checking and no monthly maintenance fee. Only apply to core checking accounts. Direct deposit required for early payday. Other fees may apply.
Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
Burns and Gambo, what's on tonight?
All right, what's on tonight? The games that we are going to watch this evening, and it's brought to you by Global Credit Union. Explore the benefits of becoming a member at globalcu.org, your world of financial possibilities. No Diamondbacks baseball. They've already played. They've already won. NBA basketball is on tonight. The Celtics, Gambo, facing elimination. They're beating the New York Knicks 81-68 with about 6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter of that game. The Knicks, if they can rally to win, they would eliminate Boston and they would move on to play the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. But the Celtics, without Jason Tatum, are hanging in there so far in this game.
Incredible. 7 3-pointers. He's got 30 points, picking up that slack. Jaylen Brown has 21, and OG Anunoby really struggling for the Knicks. 1 for 9. Karl Anthony Towns 2 for 7. Brunson 6 for 14. Boston may be able to win this one and send it back to New York for another game.
Yeah, they might be able to do just that. We'll see. And then also tonight, the Warriors and Minnesota. And Minnesota can eliminate Golden State with a series win, with a win tonight and a series win in this one in 5 games. No Steph Curry. He will not be available. That game starts at 6:30.
Yeah, I don't even know if he would be available if they won this one for the next game. They said he's doing some light work, so that doesn't sound very good.
No, it doesn't. And I'm not sure if he would either. That would be a really, really good question, if he would even be available. That is what's on tonight, the 2 games that are on in the NBA and what we'll be watching this evening. It was a real short edition of Burns and Gambo today. It was an extra long Diamondbacks game, but ultimately a good one. They won the series against San Francisco. They finally have an off day tomorrow. The bullpen was shaky yet again. Ketel Marte hit a couple of home runs. The news now, Gambo, coming out of this game, and we want to pass this along, and I know there's going to be more about this coming up on Arizona Sports at night, is that the Diamondbacks removed Ketel Marte from this game. I'll have Torey Lovello explain why.
I asked him last night after the game, you're going to play your first day game tomorrow. What would you like to do? I'm thinking that let's be safe. It's cold at night here. You're going to have a nice day tomorrow. He pounded the table and said, I want to play. I want to play. We got to win the series, and I want to play. So it was a big ask to go night, day. First time that he's done that. He's in a return to play full-time progression. And then through the course of the day, I was in constant contact with him. And then about the 6th inning, he said he's starting to get really, really stiff. And then before I went down there, I talked to him, or before I removed him, I went down there and I said, "What do you got?" He says, "I need to come out of this game." And I want to respect that. I want to respect the athlete who knows his body. We've talked about this before. So it wasn't a foregone conclusion. It wasn't going to happen until I went down there, but I wanted to respect what he was trying to do and gave us already up to that point in the game.
So a sore hip flexor, he was removed from the game as a precaution. Torey Lovullo is confident he will be back Friday against the Rockies.
Very, very. I've already had a little extra time in the 8th and the 9th inning today, so I was visiting with him. And he said he feels good. He was getting some treatment. He was on the table. And I asked him, "How you doing?" And he said he feels really, really good, and he's ready to go on Friday.
2 for 4 with 2 home runs and drove in 3 today, Gambo. We got about a minute left on the show here.
Yeah, I think that's good news. I mean, listen, you know your body. You take care of yourself. Lovullo, obviously, you get him out of the game. He feels comfortable and he's not going to miss any time. We do know this. With Jordan Lawler here now, if they have to struggle with anybody out for a long period of time, he can play 4 or 5 games in a row.
No doubt about it. Much more on this coming up on Arizona Sports Tonight. More on the schedule release as well. We'll see you tomorrow, straight up 2 o'clock here on the Burns and Gambo Show.
Have a great night, everyone.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
Friday afternoons at 2:30 on Arizona Sports. Burns and Gambo talk Diamondbacks baseball with D-backs manager Torey Lovullo. Brought to you by Estrella Jalisco. Don't miss Burns and Gambo with the skipper. 2:30 Friday afternoon. Listen on the Arizona Sports app and 98.7.
Okay, sometimes what was once in style just doesn't make any sense anymore. Like those outdated jeans. Oh, you know they look good at one point. But they no longer fit.
Hi, I'm Michael Halliday, attorney and partner at Morris Hall, a premier estate planning law firm. Just like fashion, your estate plan can become outdated over time. Whether it's new family members, changes in your financial situation, or shifts in your personal goals, your estate plan should reflect your current life. Think of it like spring cleaning. There's no point in keeping clothes that no longer fit. Much in the same way, key components of an estate plan can easily become outdated, like beneficiary designations, powers of attorney, and healthcare directives. These elements need to be periodically reviewed to ensure they align with your current circumstances. The attorneys at Morris Hall can help.
It's time to update your estate plan with Morris Hall. Schedule your complimentary consultation today at morrishall.com. That's morrishall.com.
Slim down this summer and rock that swimsuit with Red Mountain Weight Loss. Get started today, and our expert doctors will help maximize your results from brand name medications like Wegovy and Zepbound. Red Mountain is the trusted leader in medical weight loss, helping over 1 million patients lose weight fast. Our doctors deliver safe, effective solutions tailored to your needs. Lose weight and look great just in time for summer at Red Mountain Weight Loss. Go to redmountainweightloss.com. That's redmountainweightloss.com.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
Hi, it's Vince Marotta from Arizona Sports. Have you been thinking about making a change in your career? You've heard me talk a lot about Y-Refi. Well, they're hiring. As a student loan advocate, you will guide their borrowers and co-borrowers through the application process, ensuring that you're helping each one of them in their unique situation. Many student loan advocates make 6 figures, and there is no cold calling. Y-Refi also offers great benefits, including 100% company-paid whole family health insurance and matching 401k. If you're interested, go to yrefi.com/careers or email careers@yrefi.com.
Hang on a minute. I got to break in here and tell everyone about the Memorial Preview Sale going on now at Brooklyn Betting. That's right, now through May 14th. Everything in store and online is 25% off. Everything is 25% off at Brooklyn Betting. Brooklyn Betting has 12 basin locations and absolutely no pushy salespeople. Tell them Wolf sent you and they will hook you up. For the best sleep ever, get the best mattress ever during the Memorial Preview Sale at Brooklyn Betting.
Ready!
Hi, my name is Brent Sanderson with Ready Services Plumbing and Air Conditioning. What makes Ready Services Plumbing and Air Conditioning a great choice for customers is that you know when Ready comes to your home, you're going to get an honest assessment, a positive experience from start to finish, a very comfortable, no sales experience. Our mission is to come in, assess the situation, troubleshoot, and solve your problems and leave you smiling.
ReadyServices.com. Ready.
Hey everybody, Dan Bickley here, and for 8 years, QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain with over 50,000 satisfied patients, people with knee and back pain now living pain-free, shoulder and hip pain gone. What QC Kinetics is doing is nothing short of remarkable. They're using regenerative cell therapy to restore the tissue in your achy joints. They're using biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joints. And the best part is, with QC Kinetics, there are no drugs, no surgery is involved, and there's no downtime. This is an all-natural option with lasting relief. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation and learn about these cutting-edge treatments that can help you live your best life with clinics in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Peoria, and Chandler. Reach them at 602-837-PAIN. That's 602-837-PAIN.
KMVP FM Phoenix.
Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
On the Arizona Sports app and on 98.7.
Kellen Olson, Mitch Varelda's here with you for the first time in a minute. What's up, buddy? Missed ya.
It's been like 2 weeks. I almost forgot what you sounded like, Kel.
Love ya, mean it. Missed ya, mean it.
Mean it, totally. 3 straight Wednesdays we've been on as well, so we're streaking a lot better than the Diamondbacks are streaking right now, but then we're back again tomorrow. Look at us, back-to-back shows for this week.
Very strange segmented month for us because hardly on last week. I was out last week, and then we got these 2 shows today and tomorrow. We're on after Big Red Rage at 7 o'clock tomorrow here on Arizona Sports, a local sports leader. And then there's that pesky Dodger series in L.A. with these 7:10 first pitches. So we got to get you from 6 to 6:30, and we'll do that, I believe, 3 days in a row, I want to say, from Monday to Wednesday. We're on
Monday
at 6.
through Wednesday, yeah.
You'll be hearing a little bit more of us for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to enjoy that. Mitch will too, and we hope you do as well. We've got a lot to get to in today's show. I haven't had a live microphone in front of me in quite a while to talk about some Suns stuff. We've got a Diamondbacks team that is winning baseball games. We'll put it that way. They're winning baseball games, but of course the headlining story today, as Burns and Gamble just ran through an hour ago, the Arizona Cardinals schedule is out. So before we run through it, what are the records that everyone wound up at? Because this is a big topic of conversation on your show. Burnsy infamously ran through, picked with his heart, didn't look at the record until the end, and then realized he picked the Cardinals to go 11-6 last year. What was everyone at this year?
So just to play off the Burnsy joke, he did not make it to 11 wins this year.
Oh.
He made it to 10, though. Burns and Gambo each had 10 and 7. Lauren Koval, esteemed producer of Burns and Gambo.
The winner of this prediction contest, or whatever you want to call it, last year. I should add that.
She had 7 and 10. And then there's me, who tried to get a little too frisky, and we'll see if it actually works out in my favor. I had 7, 9, and 1. And I want you to guess where the tie is.
Oh, it's got to be Seattle.
Yeah.
Is it in Seattle?
No.
Okay.
It's the Thursday night Seattle.
Catanzaro was here.
Yes.
Okay, so that's fair. The Seattle games do tend to be weird. I wonder what the odds are of a team finishing with a tie each year. It's got to be like 5%, 10%. There's a chance. Now, is it going to be that game specifically where you pick a tie accurately? It's not going to happen.
No,
but
no way.
Is there going to be a tie? I don't mind it.
Look, I don't mind it. I'll tell you this: if there's a tie, week 4, that Thursday night in Seattle, and let's pretend that we have a show on Friday to react to that said tie, I'll bring in our late evening. I'll call up our friends. I'm hoping they're listening at Flower Child and get us some nice scrub. How's that?
Can they be our pals yet?
I don't know.
Can we get going, man?
Flower Child,
I have
if
the
you're
bag
listening,
next
we
to me
love
in the
you.
shot. We're on YouTube, I think, tonight. Like, I have the bag in my shot. Like, every day I do a show. Come on.
I had you for lunch today. It was delicious. Come on, help us out.
I'm doing dinner later, and it's going to be fantastic. All right, so what I recommend for everyone in terms of, like, Radio Man get to the schedule part of this broadcast, just go on social media, go to the Arizona Cardinals pages, and Mac Wilson will wrap it to you instead.
Yes.
That is the preferred method I would recommend for you guys. But if you just want to hear it now and you want to hear the Radio Man tell you where all the games are at and when, we knew the opponents, but now we know the order, and there's a couple of themes that have emerged. We're going to talk about one specifically at 7 o'clock, but here are the games. They open on Sunday, September 7th at New Orleans against the Saints on the road. Then they come back home the next Sunday against Carolina, and then it's that pair of division tests at San Francisco. And then on Thursday Night Football, short week at home against Seattle, Mitch, to open the year.
It's an interesting start to the season, one that Burns and Gambo think will highly favor Arizona. I mean, even before the full schedule dropped, Arizona, by record of their opponents from last season, had one of the more favorable schedule of opponents going in. The fact that there are this many considered to be lower level opponents this early in the season is intriguing enough to me. So I wonder where like the rat is, so to speak, to start the season. Like, where's the one where things are going to get weird outside of my obscurely predicted tie in week 4?
Yeah, and the weird is certainly kind of all over the place with this schedule because you've got the NFC South, which is, I think it's fair to say, inarguably the worst division in football, right? They only got worse compared to last year into this year,
yeah,
especially with what's going on in New Orleans at the moment. And then the AFC South, which had a year kind of all over the place. You're expecting Tennessee to be terrible. You're expecting Jacksonville to maybe bounce back somewhat, but how much can they bounce back? Indy, again, had a really strange year for them, to say the least. And then Houston, the darling of 2 seasons ago, stagnated a bit last year. They're involved prominently throughout this, and that's where you get those 2 opponents coming up after the Seattle game. So then you've got a long week and a half to get ready to play the Titans at home. So I'll just note it right there. Like, you don't deal with in terms of the travel situation. You got to go from San Francisco to Phoenix to get ready for Seattle on that Thursday, but then you just stay in Phoenix. You don't have to worry about any sort of weird leapfrogging situation there. A week later, after facing the Titans at home, it is the Indianapolis Colts on the road, then Green Bay at home on Sunday afternoon, and then a bye week. It does really favor them, I think. I like it. Let's just start there, or not start there, but with this segment, let's talk about the bye week. It feels like a nice place for it to be, right?
Week 8 bye week, so it's not necessarily split right down the middle, but it's pretty darn close. And it makes it a little more difficult to say post bye week was miserable, where last year their bye was, week 11, and then immediately after the bye, everything started to go downhill from there. At least with the bye this relatively early part of the season, you have enough time to at least remind yourself, look at how many games we have left, and the advantage of them coming off of this bye, not playing again until Monday. It's almost like they get the advantage of an extra day coming off of their bye to get ready for their next opponent as well.
Yeah, 2 weeks of prep for that next opponent. That is, of course, the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Everyone knows the story there and the long-term success that Kyler Murray has had throughout his entire collegiate, high school, NFL career. That's a 6:15 p.m. kickoff. It'll be on ABC and ESPN. It is the only Monday Night Football game that week, so none of that nonsense where they're on a streamer because they start an hour later or whatever. Then they remain on the road. They will go to Seattle. That's a Sunday afternoon game, followed by another Sunday afternoon game at home against the Niners, and then they will host the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's interesting that they get San Francisco and Seattle back-to-back in both chunks of the schedule at very different points in the year. You're getting them in late September, and then you're getting them in mid-November. Seattle, for example, Mitch, is a team we saw last year. The team they were in the second half of the year with the way their defense evolved under McDonald, completely different to what they were in the first half of the year. That's where you look at San Francisco, like how healthy will they be in week 3 compared to week 11. We're used to seeing that from them.
Absolutely. And the other intriguing note about the NFC West, I know we haven't gotten to it yet, is the fact that you've only played those 2 teams from that division in this stretch of the season. So to your point about what kind of a team are you going to face at different parts of the season, you only have to worry about one of those teams looking like relatively the same towards the end of the year, whereas San Francisco and Seattle, you actually could make the argument that you might get their best and their least injured versions of themselves because it's so early in the season that the likelihood of having a significant injury is just not going to be there that early on.
And this is where the schedule really breaks and gets difficult. It's week 13 on. You go to Tampa to take on the Buccaneers. I'm not claiming them to be a juggernaut by any means, but one of the better teams, the best team in their division, hands down, as we sort of laid out there, and it's not even close, and they're expected to cruise and win that division again. And then to your point, they finally meet with the Rams in week 14 at State Farm Stadium. The week after that, they will travel to Houston to take on the Texans, and then they are home against Atlanta, and then they go to Cincinnati, and then again, the Rams. That's a really tough part of the schedule, Mitch, where our conversation will definitely turn if we're midway through the year, week 10, week 11, it starts to turn into like, okay, you got to be Jacksonville in week 12 because you know you have this I don't want to call it a gauntlet. It's a bit aggressive, but depending on how good the Rams are, how much you believe in the Rams, and if you think Houston is going to bounce back, that's a pretty tough ending.
I mean, it's the reigning champions of the South. It's the reigning champions of the West twice. It's a team that feels like they got jobbed towards the end of the year, but they started off so poorly in Cincinnati, played great down the stretch, but then missed out by one win. Everybody's very high on them. They, of course, brought their key offensive pieces back. The Atlanta Falcons, who are maybe like the overlooked slightly darlings of that NFC South, and people high on the idea of Michael Penix. They obviously addressed their edge rusher room by grabbing 2 first-round edge rushers. They've got Bijan Robinson, who I know you were a big fan of going into last year's fantasy season. He's not going to be falling off anytime soon. It is tougher than it looks because you are facing teams that finished in first place or finished above 500 last year. None of these teams is going to be a cakewalk once you get past Jacksonville, with all due respect.
And I think when we're looking at, this is something that we talked about a lot last year with the schedule, and it's the case here again for me where it's flipped, and you look at just who are the quarterbacks that you are going to be playing against this year. End of the year, you got Baker, you got Stafford twice, you got Stroud, Penix, and Burrow. Penix being the outlier there, of course, but you look at the start of the year, New Orleans, you might be the quarterback, the person listening to the sports radio. You might be the starting quarterback of the Saints. I have no idea. We know it's 2 local kids who were there as well. Carolina, we've got Bryce Young on an uptick, don't get me wrong, but it's still Bryce Young who now in his first full year of getting this vote of confidence. We'll see where he can wind up. San Francisco and Purdy. Seattle, Darnold, and then Tennessee is where you get to Cam Ward. So I think that it fluctuates a lot towards, again, not only the front half of the year just being stronger and better for you in terms of the opportunities that you're going to have, but also just the quality of competition at the most important position in sports as well.
And I think at the end of the day, the big takeaway here is a lot of people are going to be paying attention to that Monday night in Dallas. As you mentioned already, the Kyler Murray history of him playing in AT&T Stadium, he's never lost, whether it is high school, whether it is college, whether it is the pros. He has never lost in that stadium. And the fact that it's on Monday night and it's the Cowboys and Troy Aikman's going to be in the booth, et cetera, there's going to be a lot of attention around that one. And for that to be the potential statement opportunity post-bye, that's going to set the tone for how the second half of the season is going to go, because the second half of the season was a very poor tone last year.
You know what's my favorite part of the schedule? We know the Kyler Murray narrative, and just like the fact, first half of the year, second half of the year, for him to overcome this thing that has plagued him over the course of his career, he's going to have to do so through the far more difficult part of the schedule. So we talk about this year being so important. This is the year where you find out if Kyler's your quarterback or not, as we've said for like 4 straight years. Now, I feel like the 4th time really is the charm here, Mitch. I feel like this is really the year we're going to do it. But if he goes through that portion of the schedule, leads them to a handful of wins and overcomes that part of it, and by default gets the Cardinals into the playoffs, you'll know you have your guy. If he struggles yet again and you were in a position where you could have just, if you had this game here, that game here, and you got off to such a hot start yet again, the schedule lines up for all those narratives to come together.
We're going to react more to the schedule coming up in the next hour, but coming up next, the Diamondbacks wrapped up a 16-game in 16-day stretch with a win. How many other wins did they get in that stretch? That's next on Arizona Sports at Night.
Friday afternoons at 2:30 on Arizona Sports. Burns and Gambo talk Diamondbacks baseball with D-backs manager Torey Lovello. Brought to you by Estrella Jalisco. Don't miss Burns and Gambo with the skipper. 2:30 Friday afternoon. Listen on the Arizona Sports app and 98.7.
When you need something notarized, the UPS store is here to help. Stop in or schedule an appointment to take advantage of our notarizing services. We'll make your documents official, help you make copies, and send your notarized documents wherever they need to go. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 Gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
This next song goes out to Cox Mobile for letting me video call my dog while we're on tour. From San Diego to Boston, I said hi. You started barking. Cox Mobile's got the bars to keep us both howling.
We run on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability. So whether you're at a concert or on the road, you'll stay connected. Visit cox.com/mobile. Cox Internet required. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability per Ookla US 2H 2024. Other restrictions apply.
Hey, we're here with a special guest, Jeff Jr., CEO of Trajan Wealth and filmmaker behind Retirement on the Brink. Hey, Jeff, welcome, man.
Well, thanks for having me, Wolf. It's always great to be here.
Jeff, you've been in finance for a long time. Why make a movie?
Well, after years of seeing people struggle, we needed better retirement education. And Retirement on the Brink, it offers real actionable insight.
It's a documentary that's resonating with folks. I know because I'm in it and shared my story.
Yeah, you are. And having you in the film, it means a lot. These stories are real and they really do matter.
What's the biggest takeaway from Retirement on the Brink?
Well, retirement planning isn't just about numbers. It's about understanding your goals, creating a plan for the life that you want, and finding a trusted advisor to help. And I'll end by saying space is limited, so visit retirementonthebrink.com for VIP access and showtimes.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Pioneer Landscape Centers is now part of Site 1 Landscape Supply. That means more products, better pricing, and 14 locations. We stock bulk rock, sand, soil, hardscapes, artificial turf, tools, lighting, and now irrigation at select branches. Visit pioneerco.com to find your nearest branch and order pickup or job site delivery.
Hey, it's Vince Marotta. Join us on Thursday morning. Will we be talking about a Diamondback Series win in San Francisco? The fun gets started at 6 here on Arizona Sports.
Yes, you will.
D-backs lead by 1. The pitch. Swung on. A little flare into center. Thomas went out. Now he comes in and he makes the catch. The ball game is over and the Diamondbacks survive. They win it by a final score of 8-7. By no means was it pretty, but a win is a win, and that's a series win on the road against the Giants. Once again, your final, Diamondbacks 8, Giants 7.
16 straight days with games for the Arizona Diamondbacks. They go 8-8 over that time. They get their long-awaited day off tomorrow before 3 at home against the Colorado Rockies, and it has been... Really, it's been a roller coaster for a month. Ever since that 13-11 loss at Wrigley in game number 20 of the year, Mitch, This thing has been up and down, topsy-turvy. And I think the main focus of our conversation that I'd like to have with you is a win is a win. And I agree, especially at this point in the year, the ability to stack up wins in this manner at this point in the schedule against this opposition is there. But it's coming off of a stretch, Mitch, where I don't think their opponent was really relevant because they were their own worst enemy.
They were, on a majority of the games, very sloppy defensively. It was a pain for some of the pitchers on some of the days to really get through some of these innings. take case an example today where Eduardo Rodriguez was only able to go 4 innings, and you're once again taxing a bullpen that is basically already on its last leg, with this being the end of the stretch. There wasn't anything that I positively took away from this stretch outside of, I believe, the Eugenio Suarez 4-home-run game was around or near that was against the Braves, so that was just before this stretch. There wasn't really that big memorable performance or individual sticking out for most of this stretch that at least made me feel better about the way the team overall performed, if that makes sense.
I'm with you. I think that everyone is now so cautious and just their guard is completely up with this baseball team now in a way where you begin a season, as you do in nearly every situation, like even with what is facing the Phoenix Suns ahead and what their roster is going to look like next year, I think people are going to still embrace that team at the start of the year with their own expectations in mind. That's what everyone does in every sort of situation like this, at least like the same people do that are allowed to have fun and allowed to root on their teams, which I think that we are. I think we're allowed to do that. But now at this point, when you are now 44 games into the year, I think the main thing for me with the Diamondbacks last year and this year was if they can just get to the playoffs, they can beat anyone. But if this continues, and to be clear, we're not hitting like the panic alarm right now. We're not saying that this needs to change immediately. We're saying if this continues to linger and just this sloppiness and just disorganized baseball where, again, they are the ones making the mistakes. It does not feel like that 14-11 loss to the Dodgers was because the Dodgers are the Dodgers. It was because the Diamondbacks were the Diamondbacks in that game. And if this continues and if this persists just a month in, you can't look at them over the totality of a playoff series and confidently believe that they will not be their own worst enemy, because that's just what keeps happening in these games. It's incredibly picky to say this, but the Diamondbacks should have scored way more than 8 runs. They should have scored way more than 8 runs in this. Again, VR makes an incredible play on the Corbin Carroll situation earlier in the game, but in the 5th and the 6th, you had opportunities to get more runs, even in the 9th when Pavin Smith gets caught stealing and then appears to hurt himself. We didn't hear an exact update on him. There were just so many more opportunities for the Diamondbacks to have a rather clean victory here, but again, they just couldn't get out of their own way in doing so. It's fine right now, and they need to be winning games right now, to be clear, with how the NL is sort of shaping up, because you've got other teams like the St. Louis Cardinals who recently lost a game, but they were on a heater. They're now 23-20. Like, you've got other teams emerging in the wild card race. We all wrote off the Atlanta Braves. No team has ever done is 0-7. Nope. They're 21-21. Like, they're right back sort of in this thing. And in fact, in the wild card standings right now, like, the D-backs are 5th. Like, they're 2 games out of a playoff spot right now. So, like, the level of execution, crisp baseball that we've come to expect from them over the last couple of years, it needs to start to come here pretty soon.
Look, there's no better encapsulation of just how frustrating this stretch of baseball was than if you were to go back to May 3rd and go up to now. They have the same amount of losses as they have wins. And look, I get it. It's the whole, they went 8-8 in their 16-day and 16-game stretch. More specifically, they've been alternating losses and wins since May 3rd until now. Loss against the Phillies. Then they beat them. Then they lost to the Mets. But then they beat the Mets. But then they lost to the Mets. Then they split with the Dodgers alternating days. They alternated the wins and losses with the Giants. I swear, if they can't get themselves into a streak anytime soon, they're not going to get themselves anywhere. You can't put yourself in a position where you do not gain or lose ground every single day you play a baseball game. You have to have some sort of momentum behind you. And if they keep doing this alternating style of wins and losses, they're not going to get anywhere the rest of this season.
Here's Eugenio Suarez after the game today on the Diamondbacks television broadcast about getting a day off.
We appreciate a lot. You know, our body, we are human. You know, we need a rest. Our body need a rest. We've been playing like 16 games on the row, and I feel like our body had to rest a little bit. And finally, we got an off day tomorrow, and we got to, just rest and be prepared for the next day and home.
Then here's Torrey on the win.
It was a hard-fought game, and the Giants are a good team. They didn't shut down. We were several runs up. We were in total control, but they kept chipping away. And then we held the line, and I'm really proud of the way we did that. You could sometimes feel the flow of the game, and we lost our momentum, and they kept striking, but we held on, and I'm really proud of how we won this game today.
Some clear positives to take away from these 16 days, though. I think maybe at the top of my list was Corbin Burns finally looking like Corbin Burns a couple of days ago, where his season, like, he has an ERA under 3, and it feels like he hasn't been Corbin Burns, which speaks to how good Corbin Burns is, if I could say Corbin Burns one more time. Corbin Burns.
Do you know the Diamondbacks have Corbin Burns? That's crazy.
Some of the hitters, Mitch, that we expect to go through streaks, one of them being Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Over this stretch, his OPS was 927 coming into today. And then Gino, the hits have been down, but the power has still sort of been there. His average sort of fluttering around 200, sits at 210 now after a 2-hit day for him today. I think Corbin was going through a stretch at the start of these 16 games where it was like, okay, is this where like the regression is going to start to come? But he's found some big hits still in this series. And then is that Ketel Marte appearing in this game? You shrug, I shrug as well. He was removed, according to manager Torey Lovello, not because of injury, but because there was some stiffness popping up for him that they wanted to be precautionary
They wanted to show measure. Yeah.
caution in doing so, which is a confusing way of saying that this was injury related, but he was not injured per se. We'll have more on that later in the show if like that was just like a thing to get Jordan Lawler another look. We don't necessarily know the full story there just yet, but offensively, I think the bats are in a really good spot coming out of this spurt. It's just the bullpen, man. Like, holy smokes.
So here's where you can feel better based off of the fact that this is now done. The Diamondbacks have an off day tomorrow, so they don't got to worry about nothing, right? They just get to sit at home. They're probably home now, given how long it takes to travel back from San Francisco. They're probably home. They're resting. They don't got to worry about tomorrow. Friday is the first of 3 games against the Colorado Rockies, who, Kellen, have 7 wins on the season. 2 things that I think are going to happen. Number 1, I think the Diamondbacks are going to win more games against the Rockies than they will lose. Second, they're obviously going to, as a result of that, end this streak of alternating wins and losses that they've had for the past week and a half. And that, I think, is going to be enough to propel them through the rest of this month. Because if you look at what comes after the Rockies, you got the Dodgers on the road, the Cardinals on the road, the Pirates at home, and then the Nationals at home. So if you could just get through those 2 road series against the Dodgers and the Cardinals, you could be sitting pretty at the end of this gauntlet of a month of May.
And I think they're in a position to round into form in June. I think to your point on just where the schedule lines up and just where their overall level of play has been at. That's the good news. This 16-day gauntlet, like you just inevitably have patches that are softer in the schedule, to your point. Even if you go into June, like you've got the Reds, Seattle, San Diego, Toronto, Colorado, the White Sox, Miami. Like that is a very fortunate month. So not only with the schedule, but just with how they're playing, it just feels like they need to get through these first 40 to 50 games. And then hopefully from there is when the consistency starts to emerge. Because if it does, it'll be a really good baseball team. It's just that's what we expected, a really good baseball team, not a fine baseball team. They're just fine.
It's just fine. We'll get more into Diamondbacks later. There's several other things that we wanted to hit on. But coming up next, we got to pivot to the NBA, because with the NBA's draft lottery now out of the way, it gives us a chance to reset Kevin Durant's trade market. And we'll explain how next on Arizona Sports at Night.
Bickley and Marotta mornings.
Wherever Giannis ends up going, and the fact that he's exploring possibilities now, he's gone. You don't make that step if you're going to stay. If you're going to stay, it's because you're going to be that guy. You're going to be forever loyal to one market, and that's antithetical to being loyal to one market if you go out on a dating circuit.
Isn't that his brother's name? Antithetical?
Antithetical. Yeah, that's him.
Bickley and Marotta, mornings on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car to
today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, how about another reason to want a Ford Bronco? Yep, Paul Calvese here for our Arizona Ford dealers. It is Bronco Wild Fun Days in Flagstaff at Overland Expo West, Fort Tuttle County Park, May 16th through the 18th, brought to us by our Arizona Ford dealers. They'll be sponsoring the Kids Adventure Area, featuring Bronco Base Camp, action-packed fun with activities, games, and a chance to win a 2025 Ford Bronco Big Bend Ding. Make it a double ding, because we've talked about how committed they are to the preservation of the environment and what they call treading lightly, that they've created the Bronco Wild Fund, a chance to make a positive impact on Mother Nature, and, by the way, celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Ford Bronco. The Bronco Wild Fund is supporting 60 community cleanups in 2025 to help leave no trace. Get more info at Bronco Base Camp. Again, all the adventure starts with Bronco Wild Fun Days, Overland Expo West in Flagstaff, May 16th through the 18th, and it's brought to us by our Arizona Ford dealers.
Hi, it's Vince Marotta from Arizona Sports. Have you been thinking about making a change in your career? You've heard me talk a lot about why refi. Well, they're hiring. As a student loan advocate, you will guide their borrowers and co-borrowers through the application process, ensuring that you're helping each one of them in their unique situation. Many student loan advocates make six figures, and there is no cold calling. Why refi also offers great benefits, including 100% company paid, whole family health insurance, and matching 401k. If you're interested, go to whyrefi.com/careers or email careers@whyrefi.com.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. At your local Camping World.
See for full details and disclaimer.
Hey everybody, it's Bernsey. The Cardinals schedule is out. How favorable is it now we know who they will play and when? We'll react tomorrow, starting at 2 o'clock on Arizona Sports.
Pick number 10 will be made by the Houston Rockets.
Houston receives this pick from Phoenix due to multiple previous trades.
We were waiting on that little dreary potential moment on Monday. I know Suns fans were awfully anxious about something that in the grand scheme of things did not impact the Phoenix Suns whatsoever. It was just the potential of giving up a top 4 pick in this year's draft in the Kevin Durant trade. Get ready for some anxious nerves the next couple of draft lotteries. They passed there, though. The Rockets land 10th overall. We wanted to play that and get into Kevin Durant and Suns talk here specifically because the Suns are now in a position where we knew the Durant trade was going to be, the Durant trade market, I should phrase it as, was going to be impacted by what happened in the playoffs so far and what happened in the lottery so far. What do you make of what has happened so far, Mitch, in terms of how it has affected the way the Suns are going to be able to trade Kevin Durant and who's going to be interested in Kevin Durant?
Based specifically on the lottery results, right?
Both. You can go lottery, you can go playoffs as well. We've seen people have mentioned Cleveland, for example, randomly, now that they have gotten bounced in the Eastern Conference semifinals. You look at a team like Minnesota, on the other hand, who could have been interested in Kevin Durant and were interested in Kevin Durant if they make a run to the Western Conference finals or the finals. Does this take them out of it now? We've talked a lot about Houston. What catches your fancy the most?
I think based on all the criteria, what catches my fancy is how many of the teams that were or may be interested in Kevin Durant are going to be more interested by the possibility of a Giannis Antetokounmpo move. I think that, for me, is going to be the largest needle. At the same time, I think it is agreed upon that the big suitor or maybe the big winner based off of the draft lottery results in any sort of Giannis sweepstakes would be San Antonio because they have 2 of the top lottery picks. But from the Suns' perspective, I think that makes it easier in terms of trying to find who is the best suitor for them, tied back to the fact that San Antonio might have the best package to offer if they were to try and pursue Giannis Antetokounmpo this offseason. It takes suitors away from Giannis and leads them to the Suns for Kevin Durant.
To your point, in a way, does it become a situation where everyone else sort of understands that this is just going to come down to San Antonio and Milwaukee agreeing upon something? To be clear, we still do not know what Giannis's fate will be this offseason. We are just speaking as if he is going to get traded. The report at the start of the week was very like, this is a thing that could potentially happen, which is where we've been. So until we hear that Giannis wants to leave Milwaukee or the Bucks want to trade him or both, because I think that's the thing. If Giannis wants to leave, there's a situation where Milwaukee could just try to trade Hendricks in it, which we see how that's going for.
They did
the
extend
Bengals
their
in a different
GM.
sport.
It would be interesting what they decide to do, given that he's been there with Giannis in tow.
Yeah, does that give him more security to believe in a move like this where he can buy into it? I'm not exactly sure what it'll go, but until we get those reports, we're going to calm ourselves a bit, calm down a bit on the Giannis talk. I can't help but go back to the Rockets. I wrote a story on ArizonaSports.com in 2 parts. The first part essentially giving you the complete and total case for why the Rockets are the perfect trade partner for Kevin Durant. And then the second part looking at prospects in the draft, because I believe that the way the Suns should attack this type of trade, and something that you and I have had a lot of conversations about over the last couple of months, is when you do a Kevin Durant trade, what do you want in a Kevin Durant trade? This is not like a Giannis trade or a Devin Booker trade where you get everything. You don't get great players and picks and players in their prime right now and players with upside for later. You only get very specific things here. And why I think the Rockets make so much sense and what I went into in the story is like, I don't really think that Jalen Green has much trade value right now. I don't really think Jabari Smith Jr. has much trade value right now, and they are actually the salaries that make this type of deal work. And Houston is in a situation right now where they've got to commit to their young guys sooner rather than later. Maybe they can wait another year. Maybe they can wait 2 years, but they're going to be a tax team next year, and they're going to be a really expensive tax team the year after that when some of this money starts to kick in. And this isn't a trade that's going to save them money, but if you look at how much their team is worth right now and how good their team is, that doesn't necessarily match right now, to say the least. It will match if you have Kevin Durant on your roster. All of my theory here goes up in smoke if Houston actually does believe in Jalen Green to the extent in which they say they do. I'm calling cap. I don't necessarily believe it. Jabari Smith Jr., for example, is one of these guys going into potential extension talks this summer where if you look at what Jabari Smith Jr., you say, what is he good at? You can name a couple of things that he's okay at. You can name, like, he's a great rebounder. I'll give you that. He's a serviceable defender. I'll give you that. He's big. He's quick for his size. Now, are those like reasons to pay him $15 million a year? No. What would help is if he was a 39% three-point shooter instead of a 34% three-point shooter. What would help is if he established some individual offense at this point in his career, instead of just being more of a catch-and-shoot guy. He hasn't really been given much of an opportunity to do so in Houston, especially in the last 2 years when they've sort of pivoted to this older group that they've gone around. But all of that is saying if Houston is in a situation where they need to kind of get off those guys, maybe they feel it's as close as this summer, this perfect opportunity presents themselves where, okay, we're not going to give you like the young talent back, but what we can give you is one of the 10 best players in the world. You can make some deep playoff runs with this guy while you figure out what the rest of your roster is. And all of this circles back to getting the number 10 pick in the NBA draft back from Houston. To be clear, it doesn't matter. It could have been the Charlotte's pick or Brooklyn's pick, but it just matters that the Suns get a number 10 pick. How do you feel about my case and having this go and center around two guys who we aren't really sure how great they're going to be in a couple of years, but the main part of the value being a draft pick in the lottery? What do you think about that as opposed to players in their prime or maybe younger players with more upside than Green or Smith?
So just quickly correct me if I'm laying out your package incorrectly. You're saying that Kevin Durant would go to Houston in exchange for Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, pick number 10.
And Cam Whitmore.
And Cam Whitmore, who is another role player who's small enough to fit into that salary.
Another guy they don't have time to like get playing time for, basically.
I see how it benefits both sides, only because it seems like Houston has been in the lottery year after year. They've now had 2 seasons that I would consider successful under Ime Udoka. And Ime is probably now going to have conversations with Raphael Stone, their GM, about what direction that they want this team to go. And you can't. Oklahoma City feels like an anomaly in this aspect in this conversation here. But you cannot just trust that you're going to get great players in the lottery and they're going to be your next great team, right? Oklahoma City is the anomaly because they succeeded in other areas, not just in the lottery in trades that they made and acquiring key veterans to help supplement those areas. Houston doing the same thing because they're starting to figure out who are those young guys that we've drafted that are actually going to be part of the long haul. But teams that are forever in the lottery, forever taking young players and not making the rest of their team better around them, the Charlottes, the Washingtons, the Utahs, they're not going anywhere because they don't know who of their young players is worth holding on to. And Houston is now in a position where they've rushed themselves to a point, basically, where they need to decide, as you argued in your article, they need to decide who of these young players is a part of their long term. And I think it's clear that Jalen Green and Jabari Smith Jr. are two of them that are on that 50-50 cusp right now.
And I don't think Houston is in a situation where, to be clear, number 10 is their only first-round pick that they have this year. The other one is going to Brooklyn and some swap stuff. I don't think they're in a position where they need to pick young. Like, we often look at it like contenders need these young contracts, affordable contracts, and they're going to need those in the future. Don't get me wrong. They've already got a couple. Like, Tari Eason is on the fringe of their rotation. Reed Shepherd, the number 3 overall pick in last year's draft, a guy who they are still very, very high on by all accounts, just didn't play
like
last year at all. They can afford to trade 2 or 3 of these younger guys who are sort of in the margins right now, because there were times in that playoff series where Jalen Green was on the bench. Jabari Smith Jr. was not playing either. They would rather have Steven Adams out there, chuck the ball at the rim, and have him try and go get it. Like, that was some of their offense that they were dealing with. And then there's the obvious benefits to having Kevin Durant as the guy who shoulders the offensive load, allows Şengün to develop more consistently without such a over-reliance on what they would need out of him. Same thing with Amen Thompson. Like, there were points where Amen Thompson was clearly their best guy to have the ball in his hands late, and that's asking a lot out of him for what his skill set is at this point in his career, at least. I got a hypothetical for you. You ready?
Hit me.
This is second apron clear, to be completely transparent. I've not gone through and made sure the numbers work here. It would more than likely require the Suns to duck under the second apron, maybe even duck under the first apron to start talking about this. It might require the other team that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Celtics are going to win tonight. They're up 20-plus right now in the fourth. Let's say the Knicks take care of business against a team that just lost Jason Tatum for the rest of this season and most likely the rest of next season as well.
Yep.
Let's say Boston calls you and said you can have two of Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and Derek White for Kevin Durant. Does that interest you at all? Not saying yet you want to do it, but does that interest you at all?
I'm intrigued by Drew, but that's probably about it. Kristaps Porzingis, replacing one injury-prone player for another injury-prone player that doesn't play the same type of quality of basketball that you would be replacing him with does not intrigue me at all. But getting a defense-first point guard who's become a lethal three-point shooter in his later years, sign me up. Absolutely.
I just wonder if this is the perfect opportunity that the Suns are looking for with what they would want out of a Kevin Durant trade. I do not think that what I just proposed with Houston interests them at all. I do not think that they're looking to get back picks for now, to develop young talent now. I think that they want to grab 2 to 3 winning players that are in their prime right now, that are playoff tested, that have all these attributes that they want. And that is where someone like Drew Holiday would fit in. That is where someone like Derek White could fill in as well. Just to provide even more information here, Drew Holiday turns 35 this summer, so he is not young by any means. He has 3 more years left on his deal beyond this season. That includes a player option. Derek White has 4. So you would have these guys under wraps for a couple of years. Porzingis would be on an expiring next year. And that's where, like, are you going to be the team that pays Kristaps Porzingis as he turns 30? Like, that doesn't seem super
He's
fun.
only going to be 30
right now. But the Celtics are in a position where they might have to do something this summer anyway. And I wonder if this type of deal is what they would entertain, or if they're just willing to write off what happened this year and look into next year and say, well, we're deep for a reason, even without Jason Tatum, all this kind of stuff. It's very easy for them to do that, but they're a team that came up for me. People are talking about Cleveland and, like, is there a Garland trade there? Like, I get that, like, splitting up Garland and Mitchell is something that's coming up, but unless Cleveland's incredibly desperate and they think that their backcourt doesn't work and they're worried about Donovan Mitchell and if they're going to have to trade him soon enough, maybe it gets to them. But those are or sort of the only other ripple effects that we see here. The Knicks, too, we should mention. They were a team that made some of the most sense out of any teams, to be honest, with what we know the Suns would want and what the Knicks, their sort of roadblocks that they would be looking at if they were to take an early playoff exit. But that game's about to wrap up, 122-98.
We'll give you the full update coming up here next, because obviously the big story that Kel, you mentioned, Jason Tatum being out for a majority of next year as well with that torn Achilles. So coming up next, we'll get into what is happening in the NBA playoffs and talk about as well the best series of the second round. Maybe not in my opinion, but that's next on Arizona Sports at Night.
Wolf and Luke, middays 10 to 2.
If you're the Suns and you're trading Kevin Durant, and I don't think any of us buys that garbage from the Rockets that they don't want Kevin Durant anymore, now I think you can insist on the 10th pick in the draft being in. I have to also think when Houston made that trade to get the Suns picks, the narrative was like, yeah, they're doing this to eventually make a trade with the Suns. Houston doesn't need all these additional picks. They can't use them all. They're not going to be able to play all these players, so at a certain point, you're going to just be wasting assets. Why wouldn't you trade it for a Kevin Durant or whoever, if they want to trade for Giannis or whatever?
Wolf and Luke, middays 10 to 2 on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like fences. A house with a big yard and a white picket fence was always the dream. But then you saw the price to install a fence and you're wondering if the color is driving the price up. Nobody ever dreams of a beige or a gray picket fence, right? So maybe those fences are cheaper. But no, they're not. Then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds and make all your dreams of a fence come true. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers, not available in all states.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th. At your local Camping World.
See you for full details and disclaimer.
It's what you wait for all week. The three-pointers, the rebounds, the thrill of every shot. Win or lose, it's the hope that keeps you coming back. The dream that this time, it might be your year. And so you represent with anticipation and with pride. Because when the pressure's on, your support is everything. That's why the NBA store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Hey everybody, Dan Bickley here with Dr. Osafi, founder of New Life Dental Implant Center. And doctor, you're doing more than giving people new smiles. You are transforming lives. When I visited your Scottsdale location, I was amazed at how many people were getting their new smiles. Who can benefit from full mouth dental implant treatments?
The patients that benefit from this treatment are those that are either missing multiple teeth, they are suffering from some form of gum disease, they have periodontal disease, patients that have been wearing dentures that are ill-fitting, or they're just unhappy with the appearance of their smile with their dentures. Those patients can benefit from this procedure. Also, those that have limited access to insurance or funds. We really wanted to make this treatment as comprehensive and affordable to anyone that needs and can benefit from it.
Go to newsmilearizona.com or call 602-855-0000. New Life Dental Implant Center, where a new smile means a new life.
Luke Lipinski back to tell you about Chime. The little expenses add up, don't they? Maybe you have to pick up lunch real quick on the way back to work, or you meet a couple friends at a baseball game last second. That's life, and it's great, but you have to stay on top of it financially, too. And that's why your checking account should be helping you, not working against you by charging you fees. Well, that's where Chime comes in. A Chime checking account is going to help you manage your money better by offering no maintenance fees and fee-free overdraft up to $200 until your next deposit. That's big. They've spotted members over $32 billion to date, so just go to Chime.com to learn more. Move toward a better financial future with Chime. Open a Chime checking account in 2 minutes. Get started today at Chime.com. Chime. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Members FDIC. MyPay line of credit provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. MyPay eligibility requirements apply. Not available in all states. Credit limits range from $20 to $500. $2 fee applies to get funds instantly. Out-of-network ATM withdrawal and OTC advance fees may apply. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs. Bank ranking and number of ATMs according to U.S. News & World Report 2023.
If you have old windows, they are probably driving up your energy bills. Upgrade with new windows from the Window Depot. The Window Depot provides unbeatable value and a wide variety of in-stock and custom order windows to fit your style and budget. With our exclusive SI window brand made right here in the USA, you'll get a full lifetime warranty, including glass replacement, for ultimate peace of mind. Order online at thewindowdepot.com or visit a location near you and start your project today. Experience the best prices, the biggest inventory, only at the Window Depot.
Hey, it's Luke. How much can the Diamondbacks' first day off in a long time help their bullpen? We'll discuss tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports.
All right, Mitch, we are roughly halfway through, a little over halfway through the NBA playoffs. We've got a lot to get to that has developed in the last couple of days. No story bigger than Jason Tatum, the full Achilles tear, already having surgery done on it within 24 hours. Obviously out for the rest of this year and might just be all of next year as well. Just a terrible development to a playoffs where it felt like we were getting some fantastic injury luck. Like, yes, Steph had the ankle thing, but outside of that, it seemed like everyone was able to stay relatively healthy. And then there it is. Just a terrible moment for a series that was really delivering from a drama standpoint.
And also just a bummer in terms of knowing how long this recovery takes. We already knew we were going to be without Kyrie Irving next season with Dallas and his ACL recovery. Now we're going to be down Jason Tatum as well with his Achilles recovery. It's a bummer that we're already losing star power for next season based off of what's been happening in these last couple of months. And I think it's a different feeling that it's Tatum, who's been, first team All-NBA for like the last 3-4 years, one of the best players in the NBA, in the minds of some, I should say. We know of a mutual friend anyway. But yeah, huge blow, especially for a Celtics team that was apparently already planning on making some significant changes this offseason as well.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because Brian Windhorst a couple of days ago wrote about something in terms of what the Celtics are doing and where they're at, their ownership change, all this kind of stuff, and how expensive their roster is. Like, we ran through it last segment when looking like at a Kevin Durant trade, if that would make sense for them. But just like saying the numbers plainly, next year, Jason Tatum makes $54 million, Brown makes $53, Holiday $32, Porzingis $30, White $28. That is before getting to re-signing Al Horford. That is before getting to Peyton Pritchard's robbery of a $7 million a year extension right now. Windhorst was going into detail about how like this ownership situation and just how expensive this team is going to be from a business standpoint and where it is going to be with where it finishes this year. Like, let's say that I don't think the series is over, to be clear. Boston wins tonight, 127-102. It's now 3-2. The series will go back to the Garden. New York all year showed an inability to beat elite teams. We know the story of this series so far has been that New York has not been in these games for the most part or even required a massive comeback or some sort of surge to get back in the game. Mm-hmm. They've been able to do so 3 times to win games, but I believe that Boston is still in a really good position to win this series actually with what the Knicks have sort of been all year. But even if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, even if they make it to the finals, I think these sorts of changes linger over them. I don't think it's like Jaylen Brown getting moved or anything, but could they look to just get off of some of this money potentially? Like, could they look at Drew Holiday or Porzingis or White in a situation where they would rather duck back? We'll see. It's going to be really interesting. The more likely changes happening are going to be on the other side of that bracket. Or the Indiana Pacers. My goodness. Take down the Cavaliers in 5 games. I know that Cleveland was hurt here, but that's what I'll ask you. Do you think this has more to do with who the Pacers are or who the Cavaliers are?
Well, I would have thought that we put the idea of this Cavaliers team can't work behind us based on the fact that they won 64 games in the regular season with a brand new head coach and essentially the same core. And then in the postseason, they faltered, some of it because of injury, some of it because they could not outmatch what Indiana's offense was doing. And at the same time, Indiana was able to get enough key stops that kept the Cavaliers separated enough that allowed the Pacers to take 4 out of these 5 games. It's easy to write them off as frauds. It's easy to write them off as like unserious contenders, et cetera, et cetera. But there's going to be a hard look in the mirror, and they're going to be asking, can Donovan Mitchell be the best player on our basketball team if we expect to get anywhere? And we saw flashes of it in Utah where they played really well in the regular season and they couldn't get into the conference finals. Here it is again in Cleveland where they played really well in the regular season, and once again they are not making it to the conference finals. I think they're a fascinating team to watch because this could be the year where they do actually decide to break up the backcourt or the front court, however they decide to go about it.
It also made me want to revisit what has been a constant point of conversation this year, and especially surrounding the Suns and how we talk about the Suns, about how you can't build a team around 2 or 3 stars anymore. You need to be really deep. You need to have all these guys at a bunch of different positions. Well, this was the team that was well-equipped to handle injuries because of how deep they were, right? But Ty Jerome had an awful postseason. He did not play well at all. Evan Mobley was here and there in the way that Evan Mobley always has been. Jared Allen was not good in this series at all. He really struggled. Donovan Mitchell was the man. He was the one guy that really showed up. Garland was clearly playing through stuff, and injuries have unfortunately been the story for him in a lot of his career, including this year as well. That was a lot of the optimism actually about Cleveland going into this year, is that Garland was playing hurt all last year. They're going to be a completely different team with him in Atkinson's system. That's what they got. And then DeAndre Hunter was fine, but like Max Strus was fine. But in the game where they needed him to hit a bunch of shots,
he didn't.
He did not hit a bunch of shots. So you make this super deep team that is the new age of the NBA, and this is how rosters are supposed to be built. This is a case example of how star power was the only thing that kept him in these games sort of at all. And the bottom line is Tyrese Halliburton was the best player in this series, and Indiana's role players showed up as opposed to Cleveland. Indiana, the far less deep team, the shallower team, if you will, and they were able to handle them rather effectively. I should give you the floor here as your friend to talk about your Denver Nuggets, who are now trailing Oklahoma City 3-2. Just felt like a missed opportunity, didn't it, in Game 5? It felt like...
And Game 4.
Did you agree with the opinion? I'll your Nuggets thoughts as well, but also, did you agree that like it feels like the winner of this series is winning the whole thing with what happened in Boston?
No, I glean towards Minnesota right now.
Okay.
Only because they were in the conference finals last year against the Dallas team that clearly figured out how to defeat the one thing that they used to defeat the Nuggets, right? And then what did Minnesota do this offseason? They tore down that system and they balanced everything out. And Anthony Edwards, I think he's on a mission right now. Rudy Gobert looks like the Rudy Gobert that was playing for France right now. Mike Conley is all of a sudden looking competent again as a point guard.
Julius Randle, my God.
Talk about a renaissance for him.
Yeah.
And I think that this is another case of, does he become a big ticket item this offseason as well, the way that he's been playing? But no, I lean Minnesota. I think they're going to be the one team that's going to give OKC true fits, whereas Denver hasn't given OKC fits. They got the benefit of a really bold strategy in Game 1, the fouling up late, etc. strategy. They got their ass beat in Game 2. In Game 3, they forced it to overtime, and OKC basically ran out of gas. And in these last two games, they had the fourth quarter leads, and they lost them. They absolutely lost them. So I think that Minnesota's going to be the team to beat.
Was this your worst fears being realized with Denver in terms of the supporting cast that you were worried about sort of all year, and if they were a player or two short because your two stars showed out in this game?
I wonder why the GM got fired before the season ended. Look, it's funny that you mentioned the whole depth versus star power thing, because I think the Nuggets are a team that is built on the idea of star power, while the Thunder are built on being depth. Like, Shea hasn't touched 40 minutes in any game this series, whereas Murray, Jokic, and Gordon are all touching 40-plus in every single game. That's one of the big differences right there. Massive difference.
Yeah, field goals by players for Oklahoma City in that Game 5. 12, 7, 5, 6, 4, 4, and then three guys had one off the bench. For Denver, it was 17, 10, 6, 3, and then the four other guys to play had one field goal. That was it. They were incredibly lopsided. It just felt like if they had the right guy sitting in the corner instead of Christian Brown, instead of Russell Westbrook, if it was a healthier Michael Porter Jr., maybe that would have been the difference. We started to see him wind down a little bit, by the way, but that was incredible theater, fantastic basketball, a Jokic masterclass. Shea finally coming into his own. I was starting to get a little impatient if you didn't notice on Twitter with the way he was playing. It's like, all right, MVP, let's go.
They haven't announced the award yet, by the way.
You're the superstar now. Yeah, I think it's coming next week. We'll see if it's coming next week. That's a game tomorrow that's going to be happening during our show. I'm sure you're going to be super chill during the fourth quarter.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Look, I give them all the credit in the world for a team that fired their head coach and GM and has somehow made it into the second round and has won 6 playoff games. I don't think I would have even expected that. We thought they were done in the first round. You were confident that the Clippers were going to be in the first round, and look where they are now. All right, coming up next, the Arizona Cardinals schedule is here. What's more important, a successful first half or second half? Next on Arizona Sports at Night.
You and your phone have the key to the Arizona sports universe with the Arizona Sports app. Live streaming shows and podcasts. Plus, listen to D-backs play-by-play. And on score! Download the Arizona Sports app, presented by Ready Services Plumbing and Air Conditioning.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
For 70 years, we've been known as the Humane Society of the United States. But as the challenges animals face have grown, so have we. We are now called Humane World for Animals. And with you on our side, we are going to end animal cruelty around the globe. Join us. Humane World for Animals. The end of animal cruelty.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Tired of fighting for your store's last bottle of water or lugging hundreds of bottles of water each year from the store to the car to the fridge to the recycling? For less than $1 a day from Parker & Sons, you can have an unlimited supply of bottle quality water right at your tap. Drinking water keeps you healthier, aids in weight loss, keeps skin hydrated, and flushes your body of toxins. Call Parker for your free estimate on a reverse osmosis system at 602-2-REPAIR or visit parkerandsons.com.
Something new is happening at Cox. Now the price of your Cox internet and mobile plan won't go up for 3 years, and Wi-Fi equipment is included. So no frustrating price changes, just a lot more of what you want, like a pizza with extra pineapple. Yikes. Okay, let's stick with something everyone wants. No price changes on your plan, guaranteed. Learn more at cox.com/value. Must have at least 500 megabits per second speeds and Cox Unlimited mobile taxes and fees excluded from price guarantee. Mobile data speeds reduced after 20 gigs usage per month.
Gatos, can I give you some free advice?
You mean now that I'm down off your new roof at Casa Calvisi?
Don't wait. Call America Roofing before the monsoon rains. See, I had a small leak, right? It turned into a big mistake.
Well, who says I'm waiting to call the experts at America Roofing? Arizona's #1 roofing company. Repair or replace.
Because, see, I waited. I thought I could make it through another summer. You know, why didn't I just get the free inspection?
Well, you're not a smart man. That's what I did. I took America Roofing up on their free inspection. They found a little section of my roof that needed some TLC, and they're fixing it.
And you know what's smart? Save 12% right now.
You know, we need some tax and tariff relief, right?
Just mention Calvisi.
Or Gatos.
Arizona Sports.
Or KTAR. You save 12%.
Tax and tariff relief. I mean, no wonder they've been serving Arizona for more than a quarter century.
A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau.
Just click AmericaRoofingCo.com.
That's AmericaRoofingCo.com. I said it better than Paul did.
America Roofing.
We've got you covered.
ROC number 18643HCR42.
School's out and soccer is in. Celebrate the end of the school year with Phoenix Rising on Friday, May 17th at 7 p.m. as they take on Monterey Bay at home. It's the perfect way to kick off summer, and every fan gets a free Phoenix Rising tote bag at the gates while supplies last. Tickets start at just $15. Grab yours now at phxrisingfc.com. Class dismissed. Let the celebration begin.
KMVP FM Phoenix.
Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
On the Arizona Sports app and on 98.7.
Hey, it's Wolf. What will be the most crucial part of the Arizona Cardinals' 2025 schedule? We'll discuss tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports.
Hello, this is Arizona Sports Tonight. We're actually going to talk about that just now. Like that specific tease exactly is what we're going to be talking about as well. So listen to us talk about it and then go listen to Wolf and Luke talk about it. If you want to hear us talk about something we talked about earlier, again, hello, this is Arizona Sports Tonight. You might be turning on your radio and being like, there are guys talking right now instead of national people debating about Jason Tatum's legacy and where Kevin Durant's going to get traded and Giannis trades and all this kind of stuff
well,
over
wait,
and
we
over
talk
again.
about the Durant trade stuff, though.
We did actually hit on some of like the national discourseing kind of things in there. unintentionally. We're local radio, baby. We're here until 8 o'clock. It's Kellen Olson. It's Mitch Veraldis. We'll be here with you at 7 o'clock tomorrow. All of this is kind of confusing. We have a schedule that is intermittent. We're here and then we're not here. For example, next week we're going to be here, but we're only here for half an hour the first 3 days. If all of this sounds confusing, but you want to follow along, go to our Twitter page. That is at AZ Sports Night. You'll see right there, right now. It is pinned at the top of our profile, our schedule. For example, we're on today, 6 to 8. Tomorrow, 7 to 8. That's it. And let's say you got in your car just now and you want to hear the first half of the show. You can go over to our podcast feeds. It's Apple Music. That's Spotify. ArizonaSports.com has stuff. If you want to watch the live YouTube thingy, we're on the live YouTube thingy right now as well. If you want to see our beautiful, lovely faces while talking about all the sports balls that we're talking about, all of that saying you can find us where you can find us and listen to us a couple of days later. We try and have the conversations in a way where they will age. We're going to talk about breaking news, things happening in the moment, but hopefully you can listen to them a couple of days behind. If you want to catch us on your elliptical on Saturday, you should be just fine with us. Let's get to what Ron Wolfley was talking about, and that was crucial points in the schedule, because I see two. And these are very obvious points, the beginning of the schedule and the end of the schedule.
What?
Okay, no way. It's not like week 7 to week 10. That's nuts. Yeah. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. Like, you'll know what your record is in those games at the end of the year, as opposed to you'll have no idea what your record is at the start of the year.
Sure.
Put those things aside. First 6 games of the year. At New Orleans, home against Carolina, at San Francisco, home against Seattle, home against Tennessee, at Indianapolis. Let me contextualize this for you, Mr. Veraldis. I went through ahead of time before the schedule even came out and looked at the win-loss over-unders on FanDuel for each team, just to give me an idea of like where they're at in the league pecking order, things like that. 5.5 for the Saints. Ugh.
Yikes.
Panthers. Go Panthers.
Go Panthers.
Dylan Panthers.
I think that's how Xavier Leggett
Coach
says
Eric
it.
Taylor. That's my Friday Night Lights for you. 6.5 for the Carolina Panthers. 10.5 for the Niners, which seems a little high to me. I don't know.
Interesting.
Seahawks 7.5. Titans 6.5. Colts 7.5. So it's very light. Like, the only team they see finishing above 500 is the Niners at all. But then you get into the back half of the schedule from week 13 on. You got the Bucks, who were at 9.5, Rams 9.5, and then they're at the end of the year as well in the last game of the year. Texans 9.5, Falcons 7.5 seems a little high to me, and then the Bengals at 9.5 as well. So clearly the strong part of the schedule is in the back half. The front half is light. But do you think that now makes the front half more important because that's where you need to take care of business, or is that sort of irrelevant and it's more about them finishing well?
So if I may pull back the curtain on our pre-show discussion about this, when you proposed this topic, the immediate thought that came in my mind was, are you crazy? Of course it's the second half of the schedule. It's the thing that we've been talking about as the area where the Cardinals need to prove that they're not just a falling off in the second half of the schedule team. So, of course, the second half of the schedule is most important. And the more I thought about it, the second half of this is very much chicken and the egg. The second half of the schedule becomes very irrelevant if you're not good in the first half of the schedule. Or, conversely, it becomes incredibly relevant if you don't succeed in the first half. And it puts extra pressure on succeeding in the second half. So I'm going to flip my tone, and additionally, based on the teams that they're playing prior to the bye, that's where I'll put my split. They need to ace, basically, this front half of the schedule for me to feel any sort of positive way about how their season's going to go.
If they don't win 4 games in the first 6 weeks of the regular season, you and I are going to sit here and probably eliminate them from the playoffs, honestly. Like, it goes that far in terms of how light it is in the first half and how strong it is in the second half, and also just like what we'll learn from the team if they're not able to beat these teams in those kinds of situations. Like the Carolina game in the back half of last year, a perfect example of like you are not a playoff team if you cannot take care of business in that type of game. And I think it's a situation where here's how you can look at it. I was listening towards the tail end, and I believe Burns and Gambo both themselves had it as a 5-1 start here over these first 6 games, right? It was a 5-1 start.
Got the notes.
I believe that both of them had down.
Burnsy had a 5-game winning streak to start the season before the 6th loss, and then Gambo had a loss splitting the first 5 wins. So, yes, basically the same.
So if you start 5-1, in order to just win 9 games, you would need to finish 4-7 the rest of the way.
Seems very doable.
We ran into this trap last year.
Yes,
Don't get me wrong. We went into last year and we looked at the 6-4 start. We're like, okay, just to get to 9-8, all you need to do is go 3-4. That's all you got to do. And then it went
And then they
south
won 2 games, or they won 1 game, or whatever it was.
It was only 2, but I completely agree with you, and I go towards the front half, and I think a lot of people listening will disagree, especially with where the Cardinals, to your point, have struggled over the course of the year. But if they're 3-3 heading into that Green Bay game, if they're 3-4 going into the bye, with everything that's lined up for them in the second half of the year from an opponent perspective, like again, Jacksonville, Atlanta, Seattle, Dallas are like the 4 weakest teams there in that back half of the schedule. Again, like Atlanta's got some optimism to it. Like 7.5 seems like a high number to me for their over-under. Jacksonville, same kind of thing. But those are 2 teams that are expecting to be competitive. Maybe they're not expecting to be good by any means, but they're expected to be competitive. All the layups are in the first half of the year. Like, let's start. You got to beat New Orleans and Tennessee. Like that is where.
If you don't beat both of them, then we have to have that serious conversation already, which I hate.
And you just don't want to put too much pressure on yourself, too, in the back half of the year post-bye to win 3 out of your 4 divisional games. Like, you do not want to be in a situation like that. And how about this? 3 of the last 4 are on the road as well. Now, 3 of the first 6 are on the road as well, but you're going to New Orleans, which I don't think is going to be a rowdy environment with all the uncertainty around their team. It will be on opening weekend no matter what, wherever you go.
Home opener is always the biggie, yeah.
Yeah, San Francisco, I guess, to some extent, and then Indianapolis, again, they don't have much to be cheering for, but Cincinnati and the Rams at the end of the year, and then Houston in Week 15, I think, is a really big one.
In general, I look at this and I think you cannot set yourself back to go back to your quarterbacks theory. You said that the 4 teams in the second half that we would consider the weaker links of the bunch would be Atlanta, who has Michael Penix in what is essentially going to be full year 1, but he already got a taste last year. Jacksonville, who has the curious case of Trevor Lawrence, but they see him as their franchise savior.
Kyler Murray East, as we call him.
I love that. That's actually great. Dallas, who's got Dak Prescott returning, and everybody loves to be hound Dak Prescott. We love that. And then Seattle with Sam Darnold, who got a payday, but maybe it's not such a big payday as we think, but also led the Minnesota Vikings to a 14-win season last year. Is he going to do the same thing with the Seattle Seahawks? I don't know. But I do know this. Michael McDonald is a hell of a coach. And I think if Michael McDonald was hand-picking Sam Darnold to lead his offense, he has something in mind to get him in a successful position for them.
As the bigger NFL fan out of the 2 of us, give me one team on their schedule that you are higher on than most and one team you are lower on than most out of the teams on the schedule.
I'm low on the Indianapolis Colts only because I don't really understand what direction their quarterback situation is.
So that's a layup to you as well.
I'm not going to call it a layup because Anthony Richardson could have that light the world on fire week against you, but at the same time, he's had so many issues outside of the injuries just with his play on the football field that should be a team that they could beat just fine. Like Indianapolis, I think that they'll finish last in the division. I think Jacksonville is going to be better than Indianapolis. That's to parlay into the team that I'm higher on. If they get the fully healthy Trevor Lawrence, they got Liam Cohen as their head coach. They got rid of the pest that is Trent Baalke in the front office, and they drafted a guy that addresses 2 positions they needed to address, and he's one guy. How they utilize Travis Hunter, I'm fascinated by. Absolutely fascinated by. I think that they're going to be overlooked to start the year, and then by the time that they face Arizona, they could be a team that's like, oh, they're 6-5. Oh, they're 5-6. Like they're hanging around. They're not like getting just beat out every week here on out. And Brian Thomas had a 1,000-yard season last year with all the hilarity. So I'm higher on Jacksonville and I'm lower on Indianapolis coming in.
That Jacksonville game, I'm going to make one request for them. Like they show us like the typical camera angle. Just zoom in on Marvin, Travis Hunter the whole game. That's all I want to watch. That's all I want to watch.
I cannot wait for that matchup. All right, coming up next, speaking of matchups, we cannot wait to see the Diamondbacks and a day off for their bullpen. It's an interesting matchup, isn't it? Well, they get it next on Arizona Sports at Night.
Meet the new Suns GM, Brian Gregory.
We want people that work here in the 5G that are tough. And by tough, I mean they're willing to do things other people aren't. And that permeates the entire organization. And when you do that, that's when special things and great things come.
We talk about a new horizon for the Suns today on Arizona Sports 98.7, the Arizona Sports YouTube channel, and the Arizona Sports app.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. At your local Camping World.
See you with the full details and disclaimer.
In 2012, I said, hey, let's restart this moving company under a different name. It's got to be something with veterans. My dad's a veteran, my sister, my uncles, aunt, everybody in my family. And so we came up with Moving Team 6.
Tim Lee, founder of Moving Team 6.
As a family, we've kind of all joined in ranks, and we love what we do. Giving back, that's, to me, that's the most important thing when you're running a business. That's important. We're passionate about it.
Contact us at movingteam6.com. Your move is our mission.
QC Kinetics provided amazing pain relief for a former professional baseball player, and you have access to the same life-changing treatments as retired pitcher Jose Alvarez.
I put a lot of stress and strain and work on my right arm, but my right elbow took most of the damage with 3 surgeries.
Arthritis developed, and the pain was unbearable.
It wasn't just pain when I was trying to play sports. It was anytime I was moving the right elbow. It was pretty excruciating at times.
That's when Jose discovered QC Kinetics and their regenerative treatments that help the body heal itself, restoring damaged tissue and providing relief with no surgery or downtime. Jose's message to the medical professionals at QC Kinetics:
my elbow is feeling outstanding. Where were you 10 years ago, for crying out loud?
QC Kinetics is right here. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 602-837-7246. In Phoenix, Scottsdale, Peoria, and Chandler. That's 837-7246. 837-7246.
A new diamond era begins. Desert Diamond Casino White Tanks is now open. An atmosphere sparkling with excitement and top names like the legendary Morton's Steakhouse and signature Starbucks coffee. Best of all, this stunning new destination is right at Loop 303 and Northern Parkway. So come and live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino.
An enterprise of the Donna Automation.
Hey, it's Luke. How much can the Diamondbacks' first day off in a long time help their bullpen? We'll discuss tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports.
Diamondbacks pick up an 8-7 win over the San Francisco Giants earlier today, improving to 23-21 on the year. They take the series against one of the most surprising teams in all of Major League Baseball. Giants dropped to 25-19, are very much going to be a presence in the standings for the next couple of months. And I think as we get into like June and July, we're going to be talking about like deadline moves, buyers, sellers. Like they're one of those teams where like it feels like they could go either way depending on how the next like 2 months turn out for them. It's going to be interesting, Mitch.
They're one of the teams that if they're in a position of like, hey, we're still in the wild card hunt, we're still a few games above 500, let's pounce. They've got Buster Posey's now in charge of the baseball operations there. They could be, if they maintain this level of play, they could be another thorn in the Diamondbacks' attempts to get back into the postseason.
Eduardo Rodriguez was on the mound for the Diamondbacks. He went 4 innings, gave up 5 hits, walked 3 for 4 earned runs. He struck out 4 clean innings. He did not even appear in the bottom of the 5th. That's when Ryan Thompson came in. Then 3 innings from Ryan Nelson and a 36-pitch 1-inning save for Shelby Miller. You know, just the usual there as the Diamondbacks bullpen continues to take us on a ride. Let's start with Erod, Mitch, because his ERA for the season now sits at 7.05. It is a very simple, one-dimensional thing sometimes where a pitcher struggles this much for this long. You got to move on. You got to put someone else in there. It is not a simple, one-dimensional thing with Erod because he has 2 more years and $40 more million left on his contract. So the Cardinals, or the Diamondbacks, are certainly going to see this out for as long as they possibly can. If this continues, because Erod was, again, just not himself. For example, he had 8 walks in his first 6 starts to start the year. He's now walked 10 in his last 3 games. So, like, his control is now sort of getting all over the place, where his numbers a couple weeks ago, we were like, oh, like the defense, and like he's getting unlucky, and now it's just he's really struggling. When is that point of no return for you, or is it closer than I think it is?
Can we use a similar name to kind of compare these side-by-side story?
I'm not going to like the name that you mentioned.
Okay, so then you know who I'm going to bring up here.
Yeah.
They didn't really do anything immediate when Jordan Montgomery was really, really, really struggling. As a matter of fact, it wasn't until that he hit the injured list that they actually did something about it. And there wasn't as large of a commitment contractually to Jordan Montgomery as there is to Eduardo Rodriguez. He's under contract for 2 more years after this one. And so far, it's not been so good. First year was plagued by injuries, and when he came back in August, it was, I don't really remember anything. And then to start this year, it's looked awful. It's looked like Jordan Montgomery did last year. And we know that Erod's not going through any sort of like poor conditioning or having to wait through an entire offset. Like, he pitched in spring training this year. He was fine. He came out on the other side clean, all good. I worry there's also going to be an inherent, we kind of hand-selected this guy, and he came to us in his hour of need, and we entrusted him with this contract that we gave him. That comes from Torrey and Mike Hazen. And I just wonder if they're going to sit on it because they're fine sitting on it. And that's where I'm really concerned here.
I think something to understand here in terms of the patience that the Diamondbacks are going to have is that the numbers are horrific. They are incredibly ugly. Like, I'm sure if we stacked it up in the league leaderboards across the league, he has some of the worst numbers of anyone right now that is still in the rotation. The advanced numbers, and this is where everyone rolls their eyes and says, like, it's baseball. I don't have to look at a chart to talk about baseball. But just a lot of his advanced numbers are still, even after the recent struggles the last couple of outings, are still really good. Like, if you want basic numbers, he's had 2 double-digit strikeout games in a season for the first time since 2019.
Yeah.
His strikeout percentage is more towards the region we saw him in like the 2019, 2021 range when he was at his best as a pitcher. Like, his average exit velo is in a position where guys are not getting great contact off of him. That usually lends itself really well. But none of those numbers matter when your ERA is 7. So he needs to dial this back over the next month, over the next 4 to 5 starts. He needs to get that number down. He needs to get a lot more respectable towards the mid-5s, maybe even below that. Because if you and I were to sit here right now and say Eduardo Rodriguez has a 4.4 ERA at the end of the year and his whip is somewhere in the 1.3, 1.4 range, we would take that. Why would we take that, Mitch? Because their rotation is incredibly talented. They do not need a lot out of the guy who they are paying $20 million a year to be their pitcher right now. Like, they do not need him to be elite in the way that the numbers might suggest they need him to be. If he is their 4th, even 5th best pitcher in their rotation, they're going to still be okay. But they need to show patience here, and they need to continue to give him opportunities, because I just do not think that it works this way. And this is where, again, subjective, people will agree, people will disagree. I don't think it's as simple as he puts up 2 more duds. Okay, go sit in the bullpen the rest of the year. We'll start you next year. Gallen will be gone. Maybe Kelly's gone. There's room in the rotation for you. We'll grab you back and see if we can. It's just never that simple. It's not as easy as that. But I do believe there is an eventual ending here where we get to that point. Like, if this keeps up for another month, I think it's really, I'm looking at like mid to late June is where, if he keeps this up and that ERA still sits north of 6, that's where I'm really going to, north of 5, that's where I'm really going to be like, okay, we need to put Ryan Nelson in there. But does Ryan Nelson have that much time as well? That's the interesting part of it.
Well, they gave him a decent chunk of innings today to at least keep him semi-stretched out, and then he got a save earlier on the road trip, a 2-inning save off of a beautiful Corbin Burns outing, by the way. 4 starts for Eduardo Rodriguez in this 16-16 stretch, by the way. Against the Mets, this was the massive blow-up game, let's call it. 4 innings, 9 hits allowed, 8 runs allowed. 3 of them were home runs. Next time out against Philadelphia, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 4 runs. 3 of them earned. 1 of them was a home run, but he also gave up 4 walks in a 10 strikeout performance. Against the Dodgers at home, he only lasted 2 2/3 innings. That was the 14-11 finish, but it started horribly for Arizona, and they had to claw their way back because Erod set them so far behind. 8 runs in just those 2 2/3 innings. And then today, he only can pitch 4 innings, and he threw 74 pitches. Something about today's start really led me to believe that something is up, per se. Not like injury up, but they're seeing something with the numbers that they just don't like, and they don't want to leave him out there much longer.
I believe it was Torrey who said, like, he was tipping his pitches against the Dodgers. And again, that's a very easy, like, oh, the defense is not bailing him out. Oh, he was tipping his pitches. Like,
right.
we're kind of past that point now. I will mention the exit velocity and stuff has been great for him, but in 3 of the last 5 outings, he's gotten tattooed. Hard hit balls hit 95 miles per hour or harder. He had 9 given up against the Rays, 8 against the Mets, only 2 against the Phillies, but then 10 against the Dodgers, who were just, that was an incredible baseball game to be at because everything was just getting destroyed. Only 2 today, but if he's giving up hard contact and these loud numbers, like, there's just nowhere to really go. I know we're late for break, but like, let's just stick with the Lawler and bullpen stuff here for a couple of minutes. Jordan Lawler makes his debut yesterday, 0 for 3 with a walk yesterday, and then he comes in today for Ketel Marte and strikes out in his only at-bat. If you don't know the story here, what Gambo's been reporting is he's going to see some time at second, he's going to see some time at short, he's going to see some time at third. Some of those guys are probably going to see time at DH, which is going to open up the spot to where they believe they'll be able to get Lawler 3 to 4 games a week, and that will be enough for him to develop properly. Let's just start at the base level. Like, do you believe in that philosophy and believe that this was the time to do this? Do you believe this this will work?
If it means him getting playing time, I'm all for it. Their offense is also in a precarious spot right now where first game against the Giants, they only had the 2 Corbin Carroll home runs. Second game, they score 6 runs, but 2 of those runs came late on a Josh Naylor homer. So technically, they only scored 4 runs. And then today, they score 8 runs by the power of homers, and that was only in the first 4 innings, I believe, was the last time that Ketel homered. So a lot of early offense, but also in a game where Jordan Lawler didn't play. So I don't know how I'm supposed to gauge Jordan Lawler's role in what he's trying to provide for the Diamondbacks. I do know this. If they called him up and they've won 2 out of their last 3 games with him up, whether he's been in the lineup or not. Whether it serves as some sort of spark, I don't know. He did almost cost them the game today with that base running interference collision moment out there at second base. But
Mitch, it kind of looked like a guy who maybe, like, hasn't had a lot of experience playing a certain position, and that coming up at like a really important time in the baseball game, everyone's like, oh, just play him in left field. Who cares if he's well, sometimes he'll just be in the path of a base runner then.
Which you're not supposed to be, in case you didn't know.
So with him, for me, I think that this is a lot easier to sell as a pitch than what is actually going to happen. And what I mean by that is it's very easy to say, oh, yeah, this guy gets a day off, and then this guy gets a day off, and he gets in. What if all these guys are just playing well, and there's really no position for him to get in? For example, with the way that Gino has been hitting as of late, like, you do not want to sit him. Like, if Gurriel was one of these guys, you would not want to sit him. It does benefit you in games like this where Ketel Marte is dealing with some stiffness in his hip flexor and has to come out of the game. They did not say he was injured or this was like a particular thing where he hurt himself, but they were just being cautious. But where I wonder, Mitch, and where I caught your curiosity in our pre-show meeting is, was this more of a Marte thing or more of like this is another opportunity to get Jordan in? Because if it's the latter, that's where this philosophy fails every time.
You have a soundbite from Ketel post-game, and I think it was Nick Picoro that asked him if he's getting closer to being that everyday sort of player or something to that sort of question. And translated through their team translator, it was a very quick response as to what
I'm ready to play every day, but I think having one day off a week is going to do well for my body.
That's where I think Jordan Lawler comes into play. Or it's going to be Ketel's going to DH today, and we're going to play Lawler at second because we need Ketel's bat. I don't think Ketel Marte is going to be an everyday player again if that's how he's responding to questions like that.
while I believe that to be true, I also believe like the Diamondbacks just have to accept that his development is not going to be 100% perfect anymore. They've tried to do everything they can, but he was just absolutely annihilating baseballs for Reno. And then he went through like this really like slump. Like he went through a slump.
Yeah.
And then I think that was maybe even motivate them even more. Like we can't have him going through like these up and downs. When he's on a heater, we need to bring him up when he's playing well and seeing everything well.
Here. Yeah.
And they need him on their team as well. Now, if this sometimes means that Jordan Lawler only plays once a week, we don't have to light everything on fire. It's going to be okay. He's here to be a supplementary guy this year. And then next year is when he is going to be your everyday third baseman. And I think that's okay. Again, if he only has 15 at-bats in one calendar month, I think it's okay. Everything is going to be fine. The more important thing is that he's up here, because to something you and I talked about a couple weeks ago, you were like, how many more at-bats does he need in Reno? And I feel like we got there like a week or two ago when he was basically hitting for the cycle every game and having a web gem every single game. It's like, okay, let's get this guy up.
It's like, let's not waste any more time. Coming up next, speaking of time being taken, the Phoenix Suns are taking their time to find their next head coach of the franchise. How much input should they take from their franchise player? That's next on Arizona Sports at Night.
Burns and Gambo, afternoons.
Scale of 1 to 10. How important is Devin Booker in this coaching search? 10 being the most important, 1 being not important at all. How important is it to find the right coach for him? How important is it for him to be, okay, I'll say it, aligned with the next head coach? Scale of 1 to 10.
I don't think it's a 10. I don't think it's a 1. I'll probably say 7.
Okay.
You got to rebuild around Book.
I was going to say 8. I think it's not quite a 10. It's close.
Burns and Gambo, afternoons 2 till 6 on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
At Fry's, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Fry's, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Fry's, fresh for everyone.
Check out this fresh deal on General Mills Giant Size Cereal. Select 20 to 29-ounce varieties or 3 for only $10 when you buy 3 with your card. Fry's, fresh for everyone.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Are you dealing with a back issue and don't know what to do or who to call? Greg Schulte here, and I've got your answer. Call Desert Institute for Spine Care, a.k.a. DISC. DISC surgeons treat a variety of different spine conditions, such as herniated disc, sciatica, spinal stenosis, and degenerative disc disease. DISC is known for its minimally invasive surgical solutions, believing that using at least invasive yet most effective treatments is the best way for their patients to restore, revitalize, and rejuvenate their active lifestyles. And DISC is so good at taking extra time with patients to help understand their pain and how it's affecting their everyday life. Several years ago, DISC took care of my herniated disc issue, and I've been pain-free ever since. I trusted them, and I hope you'll place your trust in the DISC surgeons to help you get through your back issue. Text SPINE to 620-620 or visit sciatica.com.
Message and data rates may apply.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
For a lot of us, saving up a down payment can be the biggest barrier to buying a home. So Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with One Plus. Because everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Hey everybody, Dan Bickley here. What will the Cardinals' schedule look like in its entirety? We'll discuss tomorrow morning starting at 6 a.m. on Arizona Sports.
Welcome back to Arizona Sports at Night here on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader. It's Kellen Olson. It's Mitch Vareldis. Yes, we are here. If you've never heard the program before, we're in and out of here, intermittent weekdays. You can go to our Twitter page at AZ Sports Night to follow along with us. I guarantee you can go back to a show from 3 weeks ago, pop it on, and we'll have some still relevant conversations that you can hear about Kevin Durant, about the Diamondbacks, about where the NFL season is at that particular juncture. I feel confident in that observation, Mitch.
That's what we do here, baby. We give you podcasts in the now and in the later. Look at us. We're like if a franchise were to make a sort of a move that benefits them in the immediate and in the future.
Oh,
how about that?
Speaking of that, you would love to see it from the Phoenix Suns, who, boy, oh boy, are they taking their due diligence right now. They are taking their sweet, hot time looking for a head coach, and I do not say that. And it's like the complimentary, derogatory sort of mean. Complimentary. Like, good. Take your time.
Compliment.
John Gambadoro reported yesterday. You ever heard of that guy before? The Phoenix Suns have cast a wide net in their search for the next head coach reaching out to and interviewing 15 to 20 candidates. I forgot that I'm not supposed to read Gambo tweets word for word because there are going to be grammatical errors in there somewhere, and I just need to get to the base of it. I'm going to keep going, though, for the bid at this point. The second round should begin soon, but I would not expect a final decision this week or next, most likely closer to the end of the month or early June. Essentially what Gambo has reported here is we've got three phases. We've got phase one, which is like every single candidate we could potentially think about talking about. Let's have a quick little Zoom with you. Let's talk to you. How you doing?
Yep.
Then let's trim that list in half, and let's talk to some of these people, I would assume, in person at that point. Second round of interviews right there. And then you get your finalists, you get your 3 or 4 guys, you evaluate them further. Maybe you talk to one or two more guys one last time, and then you make your decision from there. What do you want to see from them through this process? Like, I've made my thoughts kind of clear. I don't care who it is. I don't care what their experience is. I just want them to be able to come in here and establish a basketball culture where you know what Phoenix Suns basketball is, and there is some stability behind that. I basically want to see Monty done over again, what Monty was able to do, what Monty Williams and James Jones together were able to do. But it doesn't have to be the Monty Williams type. It can be the 37-year-old brand new head coach with little to no head coaching experience or little to no coaching experience at all. Like, I'm not much about the resume. How much does it factor in for you? What do you want to see?
Well, it's funny because last week when Connor was in, I made my case for the Suns should just go out and hire Jared Dudley. And I know that his name was at least tossed around by Chris Haynes very early on in the process. I would imagine that if the Suns are doing their due diligence and they're casting a wide net, that Jared would fall into consideration, not just because he's a former Phoenix Sun and is a fan favorite and obviously very close with Devin Booker, but somebody who has gotten some great coaching experience with the Dallas Mavericks under Jason Kidd, was also an assistant coach with Frank Vogel and the Lakers. He's been around. He understands now this part of the NBA culture. And I think if you're doing the whole, we want to appease Devin Booker and we want to get a guy that we think is actually going to be successful and last more than 1 year of his contract, that Jared Dudley would be a perfect fit for them. Maybe they see differently. Maybe they just want somebody who went to Michigan State or Michigan, or even Eastern Michigan. I don't know. At the same time, I do know that if you're trying to at least convince the fan base that your cries are heard, or we at least care about the future of this franchise and holding on to the little bits of past of it, that's where I think Jared Dudley comes into play in this.
In some ways, Jordan Ott should not even be interviewed. That is the assistant for the Cleveland Cavaliers who has ties to Michigan State. Like, you guys just need to, get some sort of belief going in there. By the way, there is, getting one up on Dan Gilbert might be interesting to someone in a position to make that kind of decision. I don't know. I'm just going to throw it out there and say that really quickly. That was another funny element of the Darius Garland Cleveland thing. It's like, are those two teams really going to get on the phone together and talk about things? I don't.
Dan Gilbert's just going to force them to hang up. That's what's going to happen.
I don't really see that situation occurring. What's fascinating in all of this is looking around at the other head coach openings and looking, because you're going to keep looking. The Suns are in this position where they do not have to worry about competing with other teams at this point.
Not yet. Depending on what Denver does when they're done. They have David Adelman right now, but they've not made anything official as to whether he's going to stay on.
Since we've got you on the show, do you think he's done enough to hold the job in the ways of, who am I blanking on right now, who also did this, who got fired and then came in interim and then they became the full guy? Who am I blanking on right now?
Why am I blanking on it too?
Go on an Adelman thing while I look that up.
Okay, so either way, Adelman's been on the staff for a long time. He's obviously got the coaching pedigree. Of course, his dad was a very successful coach with the Sacramento Kings. That was an era of basketball that was very successful in Sacramento under Rick Adelman. David is, he's in this position for the first time. And the fact that they won the 3 games in the regular season that they had, the fact that they've won 6 playoff games, I think that speaks volumes in terms of just how under control they're able to be, how he's able to read the game flow as it goes. It feels like a very Kroenke move to do, not to lump Stan into this, to just hire from within and not have to spend too much money to replace the guy that you're kicking out. And Adelman seems very well liked with the players that are here. And if the Nuggets don't do a ton of moves in the offseason, then Adelman seems like a fair choice. So back to your point, you're competing with basically nobody.
In fact.
To find your next head coach.
Sacramento, they brought back Doug Christie, and then Memphis as well brought back Asalo. That was the guy who they brought in a year ago to rejuvenate their offense that him and Taylor Jenkins didn't necessarily see eye to eye. Adelman is the only guy with an interim tag or an opening. That's it. And I think that's obviously a big one where if you're a big time candidate, you want to see if you can coach Nikola Jokic, but to your point, I think with everything that he's done, you at least got to bring him back for a year or two.
There's also the teams that maybe we're not considering right now. Like, what happens if the Knicks somehow fall apart in this second round against the Celtics, or even they go in against Indiana in the East Finals and they completely collapse? Like, do they move on from Tom Thibodeau? And do the Warriors have some sort of conversation with Steve Kerr? That one is a little far-fetched. I just threw it out there because
Kerr is in a position where we're just waiting for him to retire, basically, to be honest. And I'm not calling him out for being old or anything. He's just gone through a lot of medical challenges over the last 5 to 10 years and has made it clear that he's not here to coach the Warriors for another 20 years or whatever. I would assume it's a when Steph's gone, I'm gone kind of situation. Then again, we assumed that was the case with Popovich and Duncan, and then he saw more time as well. So we'll see. It remains to be seen. But I do think that it's advantageous for them to be in this situation. And I do think there are off seasons where it wouldn't even be about being able to coach Jokic or anything like that. Even the Sacramentos of the world, the Memphises of the world, the Washingtons of the world, or Charlotte, if they were competing with franchises and organizations like that, it would still be a very challenging time for them to hire a head coach because of the amount of uncertainty, not even just internally, but with the Suns roster. It's okay, don't worry. We're not going to sit here and tank and rebuild. If you don't want to do that, that's totally fine. We're going to get Devin Booker. We're going to get better players around him. We're going to know what Suns basketball is, all the taglines, everything that was said by Gregory, everything that was said by Ishbia, yada, yada. How much do those head coaches actually believe them, that they're going to be able to pull this off? Because it's incredibly difficult what they're going to try and do. Am I going to be the coach who fails to live up to the unrealistic expectations that you're setting? And am I going to get fired in a year and a half when you trade Devin Booker anyway because he wants out at that point? That's the position where I think a lot of these head coaches are going to have some hesitancy with this. With that being said, you get to be a head coach in the NBA and you get to coach Devin Booker in a great city, in an organization that is doing a whole lot of things right outside of basketball at the moment. So I think it's a pretty sweet gig, all things considered. I just think there'll be some back of the head things that candidates in their second or third interview will want to get clear. Okay, if this doesn't work and we blow it up, am I safe? Are you going to fire me like you fired all the other guys before me?
Right. And I think the financial security is going to outweigh the job security in this one, because at the end of the day, if they somehow fail to get this head coaching hire right again, that head coach is still going to have the financial security of like a 4-year contract, right? Like Mike Budenholzer is getting paid another $40 million over the next 4 years. Frank Vogel is getting paid whatever the total on his remaining contract for the next 3 years. You cannot just keep paying coaches and then firing them because it doesn't work for one season. Whoever this is, he's got to be here. He's got to be here for the long haul, and that's on Brian Gregory to get this right, and that's on Matt Ishbia to get this right. You cannot keep just turning over coaches year after year after year.
And I think we can agree, like last year was sort of the missed opportunity of sorts, or even 2 years ago when you go through some of these names, but like Kevin Young specifically being one, and then Jordy Fernandez being another as well, which are two head coaches in vastly different competitions. Don't get me wrong. We're talking about the Big 12 versus the NBA.
Right.
But Jordy, everyone raves about what he's been able to do in Brooklyn so far, and then Kevin Young with what he's been able to do in a new program, being able to play the style of basketball that he wants to. It's been interesting to look back on some of the former finalists and where they've been able to succeed so far.
Coming up next, we'll update you on what's happening in the Western Conference. Is Minnesota going to send themselves back to the West Finals? We'll tell you next on Arizona Sports at Night.
Friday afternoons at 2:30 on Arizona Sports. Burns and Gambo talk Diamondbacks baseball with D-backs manager Torey Lovello. Brought to you by Estrella Jalisco. Don't miss Burns and Gambo with the skipper. 2:30 Friday afternoon. Listen on the Arizona Sports app and 98.7.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Welcome to Scorpion Speed Dating, where spring flings can turn into full-blown infestations.
Hi, I'm Sheila. I like long walks on ceilings, snuggling up in empty shoes, and stinging people on bathroom floors.
Nate here, owner of Blue Sky Pest Control. Spring officially kicks off scorpion season. They're out scouting for romance and a midnight snack. But that doesn't mean your home needs to play host. For proven scorpion control, call 602-BLUE-SKY. We'll shut the door on scorpion season. Hello, Blue Sky. Goodbye, pests.
Fast, reliable, trustworthy, reputable, highly decorated. Those are all words used to describe Parker & Sons, the company you call for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. Listen, you need to trust who you let into your home and who you let fix your home, and that's why you call Parker with your sacred space, a company that has served the Valley for 50 years. Call 602-2-REPAIR. That's 602-2, then REPAIR for Parker & Sons.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See for full details and disclaimer.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
I'm Sia, and I support Humane World for Animals, formerly called the Humane Society of the United States. Together, we have created a new version of Peter Gabriel's beautiful song, Salisbury Hill, to celebrate Humane World for Animals and everything they do. Enjoy the song and join us in helping Humane World for Animals end animal cruelty.
Arizona Sports at Night. Lights out. Nighty-night.
Been a while since we shut the lights off here, both metaphorically and physically.
Don't look at the electric bill, by the way.
Oh, is it? Did we forget last time? That's our bad.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. We will actually shut the lights off. Like, I'm going to leave here in 7 minutes and flick that light switch off because this is the last show in this studio for the rest of the day. And we're also going to check on some things for you before you shut the lights out on your day as you're driving home, listening to us whenever, and catch you up on some of today's bigger stories that we weren't able to hit on. In the moment right now, Celtics beat the Knicks 127-102 in the Eastern Conference semifinals. That forces a Game 6 that is very intriguing on Friday, as we talked about earlier. Mitch, I do not think this series is over at all. This is a very big, pivotal, prove-it moment for the Knicks. They're going to have to earn that Eastern Conference Finals appearance. Right now, it looks like we've got a team that is going to make the Western Conference Finals for the second straight year. How about it? The Wolves up 62-47 at halftime. Very balanced effort for Minnesota right now. 15 for Julius Randle, who's been awesome. 11 each for Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley. Yes, the low scorer right now in their starting lineup is Anthony Edwards, who has 6 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 turnovers. Just look like the Warriors ran out of steam without Steph in the last game mission. We're seeing that right now.
So you're saying it's more the Wolves are succeeding than it is the Warriors are flailing without their best player in this series?
I think it's the other way. I think that the Warriors clearly ran out of gas a game or two ago. Playoff Jimmy just didn't have anything really left. This is the kind of why you get playoff Jimmy, is to carry while Steph is out, but he doesn't have anything left.
But this is also another example of just because you made a big mid-season swap and added a big star to your team, it doesn't necessarily net you that immediate success. Again, we go back. Like, the most successful big star addition at the deadline was when the Raptors added Marc Gasol, and even that doesn't touch the level of the Warriors adding Jimmy Butler or the Lakers adding Luka Doncic, who were, by the way, eliminated a round ago, and they only won one playoff game. Luka and LeBron, haha, isn't that funny? That's crazy. My point being is that just because you make big swings doesn't mean it pays off in the immediate. It's very, very rare that happens.
And how about parity, buddy? The Wolves in the conference finals back-to-back years and the Pacers in the conference finals back-to-back years.
Who would have thought?
I would not have thought as well. Let's shut the lights off on the Warriors. Goodbye.
Good night.
Let's keep the light on for how the Dodgers are always going through serious injuries in their pitching staff. Roki Sasaki, I don't want to say rookie phenom because he hasn't necessarily lit the world on fire, but was certainly the rookie phenom everyone wanted to sign in the offseason. He is going on the IL with right shoulder impingement. This is after a weird story, Mitch, where a couple of starts in, they looked at the guy who can throw 99-100 and said, "That's your fastball's too all over the place. Let's take it down to 94, 95 and locate it properly." But then the velocity dipped even further in the last week, which led people to believe maybe something injury-wise is going on. It is indeed going on. Another injury in the starting rotation for the Dodgers. They've got Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow on the injured list right now. Clayton Kershaw, however, scheduled to make his season debut on Saturday.
It's just an interesting situation. It always seems like the Dodgers pay heavy for starting pitching, and then what happens is, we're at Landon Knack time of the season. We're at Ben Kasparius time of the season. Not that I have any sympathy for them, I promise, but the fact that they're already down a starting rotation's worth of pitchers at this point in the season, it just feels very weird that this keeps happening to them.
They are the living embodiment of you can never have enough starting pitching because they have like 10 or 11 guys and they're still running out of names. We'll just keep the light on there. No need to flick it on or off. Let's go to the NFL. Let's start serious before fun. I don't know. The Trey Hendrickson deal, wouldn't you know it? He's not going to play football until he gets paid. I don't know how that kind of shocking development came across the Cincinnati Bengals. Interesting sort of bit of the story where Hendrickson was told by Bengals coach Zach Taylor that if he misses the team's mandatory minicamp, he is going to get a fine. That's a month away. So Hendrickson felt the need to come to work the next day, but just to talk to reporters for 20 minutes to give his side of the story. And his side of the story is pay me or I'm not going to play.
I'm on his side, to be honest. And one of the leading sack recorders of the last 5 years, the leading sack man of last season. And clearly he's looking around and like, oh, well, you're paying him, and you're paying him, and you're paying him, so pay me, because I was the best player on your defense last year, and your defense sucked last year, and it's going to suck if you don't have me out there, basically, is his arguing point. And he's got a great arguing point, because quite frankly, Cincinnati's defense is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Without Trey Hendrickson, they're going to be one of the worst defenses in the NFL this year.
I do think there's some local relevance here, because if you're a Cardinals fan, you're rooting for him to re-sign, because there are a lot of flimsy 50-50 wild card teams or just great teams in the NFC that would be looking to trade for Trey Hendrickson if he becomes available. Chicago comes to mind as someone who wants to add someone on the other side of Montez Sweat. So let's flick the light off for thinking that you can't pay your guy and he'll play. He's going to...
Or could the Cardinals reinsert themselves in conversation?
Schedule release day, Mitch, means plenty of fun on the timeline. It is now your job as a social media manager. Probably like the number one thing you have to do as an NFL social media manager is come up with a clever and creative video to release your NFL schedule. Falcons were my favorite. They did ATL Kart 25, which is a Mario Kart spinoff. You've got like animated Bijan Robinson going around Rainbow Road. I love it. I'm biased towards the Bears because they use Lamar and Morris. They got Jake Johnson involved to get a new girl shout out there. Your personal favorite, though, was the Rams. Tell us why.
So Brenda Song, who has found herself back in the spotlight, I guess you would say. Not like she left completely, but the spotlight has been extra brighter, in particularly the LA sports scene, where she has been dropping ball knower knowledge.
She knows ball.
She knows ball. Not just football, but also basketball, if you ask her about Lakers stuff. She basically sat at the NFL Network studio desk, read off the entire Rams schedule, and treated it like it was a newscast with some fun little jabs in there. For the Cardinals, though, it was just a nice thank you for hosting us for that playoff game during the wildfires incident. So that was fun. Yeah.
They didn't get any slights or digs. That was cool. No. Everyone did Minecraft, but if you were not the Chargers, if you just copy the Chargers idea, you're going to have the second best idea with that. That's all for us, everyone. Again, Arizona Sports at Night was the program. We thank you for joining us. Have a good rest of your evening. We'll be back here at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Subscribe to the Arizona Sports YouTube channel.